as we get a little bit deeper in, I think it's time to welcome back my casters because we have got one more set to cover and to break down, and an interesting one at that. Kiljardi versus Baltune. A matchup that, honestly, in their current state, I feel could go either way.
Well, back we are. I love how you just called us your casters. Like, yeah, I'm gonna bring my casters back.
Yeah, you're my boys, right? Marine Lord knows what I'm on about. He's got his banner. He's ready to go to war. We're all pumped and ready. Mum spaghetti, baby. Oh, but you know what? Talk to me about this next set a little bit, Marine Lord. Like Baltune versus Kiljardi. You've got to be quite familiar with the two of them. I know you like to scrim a lot. I don't think you've been scrimming them in particular, but you've caught some of their games. Is there any interesting takeaways playstyle-wise between these two that you have? And you're muted, mate.
Classic.
My bad.
There we go. The
I was
double
saying,
coverage.
I played a lot actually with Kiljardi.
Oh,
He's
there
a
you go.
very aggressive baboon. Very, very aggressive. Kind of like cat, I guess, but a bit better. And he's very bad on water, I think. I mean, factually, I think he's not doing too bad when we play. But he tells me that he never wins on water. And then I see him in tournament and he actually doesn't win on water. So I guess that's a weakness. And I saw, yeah, he just lost against CSO on Holy Island. So I guess he wasn't playing. Other than that, yeah, he's just very aggressive and pretty good, I think.
This is particularly comedial because just the other day, there you in the eyes. You were literally in my stream mocking both him and Louis on water for how terribly they both played. And at first I was like, oh man, yeah, but Kiljardi has the excuse he's playing the Indian server. And then you're like, actually no, Louis forces European, so Kiljardi has no ping. So could be an interesting set. Pretty interesting story though with Baltune though, Lidicor, right? This is a guy that has an interesting pedigree behind him. A former AoE 1 competitor turned team game grinder in AoE 4. And it has only really been this year that we've seen him flourishing into a whole new level of 1v1 player.
In many ways, team games, especially if you're new to a game, team games can help you get accommodated because we often talk about this. You have teammates to bail you out if you have any trouble, right? Not all the attention is focusing on you. But we've actually seen a lot of these team game players starting to flirt with these 1v1 events. You know, Louis Empty was kind of the first to do that, but CSO kind of the same trajectory, and now Baltune as well. And they're finding more and more success. Just looking at this series, KP, you know, in the previous series, I always highlighted that some of the big names we will be saying goodbye to. I think here, the bigger thing to highlight is that one of these two players will be in the top 4. And if you asked players, if you asked the community out there, do you think either of these players will make it into the top 4 in the online stage? I think most people would have said no.
That's a fair point, right? I think both of them have seen a prominent rise in the competitive scene, especially Marine Lord, right? Like Kiljardi, he began his career in AoE4, I still remember, as a little Dark Age Men-Arms English boy. Flourished into quite the player. Baltune, on the other hand of things, like we said, he's had that long pedigree, but I feel like he's always been very secretive. Like he doesn't want to be known. You know, he does. I've talked to him. He doesn't want people to know which ones are his Smurfs, what he's doing. He hasn't really been playing that deep into 1v1 tournaments until recently. And what the hell is going on?
Okay.
All right. So the context there, clearly Kiljardi ready for a fight, and Baltune just thinks he's his little pet. I gotta be like looking at this draft. Does it kind of feel like it's playing out that way at all, Emerald? Like, you know, we're seeing some interesting picks coming out here. Kiljardi, one of very few players that seems to prioritize the Jeune Dark pick. Something I know he especially likes up against the Byzantines that Baltune first picked.
I guess they're gonna go like Japanese and China or Rus on water. And then everything else is gonna be land, so I'm not sure what I prefer actually. I feel like Ayubit's first pick is a bit overrated if you really only have land, but it's not that bad. One side will have Rus, the other side will have English because they banned HRE English and HRE Rus. So English, obviously, we know it's very good, even against Byzantine, which is the first pick of Baltune. Abbasid is very good, I think. It's pretty much good against everything except English. And against Delhi, it can be pretty hard if it's a bad map spawn. If it's a good map spawn, then it can be fine. Mongols, I'm not sure. I guess he maybe like on Rocky River, right? It's a pretty good train map, so feels like he picked Mongol pretty high, like third pick. That's pretty valuable. And Malians, I guess. So I don't know. I feel like Baltune have some good sieves. He just needs to play very well to make them work.
Do you think maybe the Mongol pick is to partially protect the Malian pick afterwards? Because like you're right, it does feel like kind of a funky map pool for Mongols in particular.
I mean, to me, it's totally crazy to have China last pick from both sides. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
Well,
yeah, it was to do that, but having China last pick is insane.
Of course, especially insane considering, as Kiljardi pointed out to us in one of his interviews, he's a very big Chinese main, very big fan of that. Kind of interesting, actually, is when you look at the picks, Lidicor, it's fair to say pretty much everything in Kiljardi's draft can play very fast in Feudal, kind of fitting for a player with his notoriety as an attacker.
Does that make you surprised? Like, seriously, what did you expect? Did you expect Kiljardi to boom 7 town centers and play a 5-hour-long game, or what?
Only if he's handcuffed to it.
No, this could easily be one of those games where Kiljardi is going to be like, punch, 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 and we're done in like, I don't know, 25 minutes total.
So the question mark, the classic one that we always say Marine Lord, right? Is like, especially in the beginning days of RTSs, but even as it develops sometimes, attacker has an advantage, right? You have to react to their play, you have to counter their play. Does that mean Baltune has to keep this in mind and make sure he's always got good civs for, I'd say, the early game here, to make sure he doesn't end up just kind of getting plowed through in, say, 20 minutes time and time again?
I mean, it depends. I think attacker have an advantage only if you play bad. I think if you are the best at RTS, you want it to play fully defensive. So I think the best playstyle on pretty much every RTS is to be the best defender. And then if you know how to beat every attack, then you're good to go. But it takes a while. So the first few years of a RTS, when it comes out, usually attacks is better. And the more you play, the more defending gets better. So I guess on the same level, considering like they are not the top players, I guess attacking is better than defending. But if you play very well and you defend very well, you're winning the game. So it really depends on how like the quality of the game goes. And in this matchup, I think it's easier to attack with Byzantine than with Ayubid. And overall, I would say it's a slightly favorable matchup for Biz. So I think Baltune have some good way to win this game.
Yeah, it's especially interesting. I remember I talked to both players. Kiljardi, full poker face. He tries to act like he's not going to give anything away until you get a few drinks in turn. Baltune, on the other hand of things, I keep saying to him, he has these very weird games. But the funny thing is what he said to me, Lidicor, is like, I just want normal games. Like, he tries to make out that he's more akin to the kind of structured approach you might see someone like Duma or Beastie have. And in fairness, historically we have been seeing that, but I feel like in the last few times we've witnessed Baltune playing, there's been a more non-meta approach to some of his games.
You kind of need that to a certain extent, I feel. Like, the thing is that if you play meta every single game, unless you really are truly the best skill-wise, you are, to a certain extent, predictable. And especially in tournaments, players will be prepared for you. They know that if you play full meta, this is the build that they do. Most pro players know that meta build. Players will be theory crafting against you. Like, how do I beat this specific build? So even if you are a classic meta player, you need to have some sort of a versatility, either with the picks that you, or the civ picks that you make for certain maps, or just slight alterations of different builds. You cannot be fully predictable because, especially this late in a tournament, that will be used against you.
Do you find yourself to be more of kind of a meta setter or meta perfecter, Marine Lord? Because I feel like we've got two classes of players. Beastie's mentioned this before, where he doesn't think he's very innovative. He thinks he's very good at evolving new things found. Would you say you're more of an evolver or a creator?
I feel like the metas are just going so fast. Like every time you have a new big patch, that you don't really have time to perfect everything. So I would say you just try to make sure you understand which civ is the best on which map, which civ is the most solid. Like you want the less RNG in your play, obviously. So you don't want to have any randomness. Yeah, so you just want to find the best civ that is the most solid and then you just work from there. And you try to do that for every map to have a few different picks that can work. And then you work from there, right? You just try to have a solid pool.
And by the way, guys, we are getting the lobby created right now. We're just setting it all up. They want to double check their keybinds, make sure there's no problems there whatsoever, because I think we could have a very long set. You know, this is.
I mean, at this point, they might have been quadruple checking with how long that that
Right?
awaiting lobby creation label was up.
I mean, it's going to be an interesting set because, as you said, Marine Lord, they seem to have fairly balanced drafts overall. I do find the Joan and Ottoman priorities halfway through the draft kind of wild here, but is that just more of a Kiljardi thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, the one that is shocking is just China, but maybe they just don't like China, so... Japanese was pretty late too, right? Japanese is like the 5th pick on the right side, so that's pretty wild. I think Japanese is always pretty good on all the islands, and same for sushi, right? There is no
Yeah.
sushi, so...
That's especially weird because we've already seen it works reasonably well on Rocky River. We saw that's good like counter to say a Delhi opening. I know a lot of players have been ranking Juji pretty lowly on land. Do you agree with like the idea? I think there's been quite a few players kind of saying C tier at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's pretty bad on pure land, but it's not terrible, right? It's just slightly worse than like stuff like Ayyubids, Byzantine, probably Delhi too, I guess. Even though like we saw a good result for Anton earlier, I think maybe on a map like Arabia, Delhi would be better at attacking. So I don't know. I feel like they don't have a lot of good matchups for sure.
What do you think about the state of Juji right now, Lida? I think it's always a polarizing discussion because you have to bring things like Nesta Bees and Chuganu into the talk. And I'm sure there's a Crackety somewhere right now screaming in a dark room.
I feel like the thing I love about Jushi is the versatility that it provides you. We've seen it picked on a variety of maps exactly as a consequence. It's kind of your Swiss Army knife civilization in a variety of ways. But at the same time, you see that different players have different perceptions of the civilization. We have a matchup where neither of the players opted to either ban or pick this civ.
Yeah. And once again, somehow China got left until the bitter very end. I still can't believe that. Nice to see some more regions coming out. I don't know how you feel about this, Marine Lord. Like, regions was missing for quite a while from comp, right? I want to say like 3 or 4 S-tier tournaments. Do you rate it highly as a map overall, or was there maybe something you would have rather seen?
I mean, it's just another normal aggressive map, right? And we already have a lot of those kinds, so I think it's a fine map. I don't know. I don't think it's a good or crazy good map, but it's just an okay map, I think. I didn't miss it, and I was like, okay, it's fine that it is back, I think.
Is there any map you would have liked to have seen for Wololo?
I think I like Canal. I always win on Canal, but it's always banned when I play it.
Yeah, we've got production saying maps that will never get to be seen. How about you, Lidicor? Is there any map you would have liked to have seen included here?
No. I'm just gonna give you the
want
assurance,
Archipelago
like, no.
back again? I thought you loved Archipelago so much.
Well, I mean, I guess that was a diplomatic no, because if I start listing my map desires, I probably get kicked out of this stream.
Oh, there you go. It goes on. I'll raise my flag on one. Oh, okay. You go,
Let me just give you one.
Okay.
I love Arena. We never see it in tournaments because it's not possible to script it with a random map manner, but as a pre-designed scenario map, Arena, I think it has high potential, but I know I'm a clown, so it is what it is.
Mate, you want to play a crafted map called Mexico. It kind of has that effect. It's a giant wall on the top. It takes ages to get through. It's horrible. No, for me, I feel like Cliffside. I keep saying Cliffside is just one slight bug fix away from being an absolute god tier map. And that's like sometimes it spawns with 3 sacred sites right next to each other. And Marine Lord knows what I'm talking about. Like, you see it happen in the game, you're like, okay, this is dumb. If he's picked Delhi, it's kind of GG. But I feel like that's the map with one small tweak. It's kind of everything you want right now. And really big shout out actually to Socotra. I think Socotra surprised a lot of people, right? Marine Lord, it kind of feels like, as a man who was the only person who tried to pick mountain clearing in the last Red Bull Wololo, it kind of feels like a better mountain clearing.
Yeah, for sure. It has more sense. You can have so many good sieves on it. Maybe you can play like 10 sieves. Out of 16, that's pretty good. Mountain clearing, it was literally only HRE or English. And that's it. And maybe like if you ban both, China, I guess, but it was always the same matchup. So not the best map. Yeah, Socotra, pretty good, I think. Pretty good.
Okay, so looks like we are almost ready to start this set. You know, Marine Lord, you're the god of predictions. Let's predict this. The most unorthodox but potentially likely thing that Kiljardi is going to do with his wings.
I don't know. He's just gonna go eco, I think. Eco, and he's gonna try to attack. So that's I mean, that's not normal in this matchup, I guess.
It's
But
not. But this is
he's gonna do
Kiljardi.
that. Yeah.
It's literally the definition of this man. For those that are unfamiliar with this guy, this man out aggro's Vortex. I've witnessed it. I've watched it on the LAN. In fact, when this pops up, no, see, that's wrong. I think you give him at least one more pip on the attack. This man does not hold back. Of course, on the other side, Baltune, a little bit more of a balanced player, right? More calculated. He has some crafty and unorthodox strategies that he tends to whip out when you least expect it here. But the question mark is who's going to actually set the tempo? Because the Marino just said it's meant to be Byzantines. But when Kiljardi's on the other side, you're never quite sure. And, well, both of these players were not present at the last Wololo. Could we get a virgin candidate? Could we get someone entirely new on an S-tier LAN to challenge Marine Lord? He's got his notepad out. He's ready to see what they've got to entertain him. It's time for game one of this lower bracket series between Kiljardi and Baltune.
And in we go, folks. Kiljardi with the color yellow as the Ayyubids, and on the other side, Baltune with the color red as Byzantines. And, you know, Marine Lord, I think one of the big takeaways here, we could see that on the player cards just before the game launched. Both of these players, their best ever performance in a major tournament is top 12. Either of them winning over here would be basically their best ever performance, as they would make it into the top 8, or, well, I guess top 9 if we include you as well.
I mean, yeah, that's good for sure. They and they're fighting for it, so one of them is gonna make it for sure. That's gonna be fun. I think it's a very competitive match too, so that's gonna be really cool, I think.
Well. It is going to start on Gorge, though. Two players that, you know, haven't really played a lot against each other in major tournaments before. Both of them are still in that upward swing of their careers, and, you know, sky's the limit for them, because again, one of these two players will make it all the way to tomorrow, and who knows, maybe even beyond.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. Okay, let's see how this is starting. First cistern is only on food. Okay, food, gold, and stone, which is pretty normal. So I guess he's gonna make a second one on the wood line to make sure he has a good economy. Very good gold for Kiljardi, very good berries. Everything is a little bit more forward for Baltune, so not gonna be easy to defend. And we have to say he went for fast berries with Byzantine, which is really not normal.
Indeed, that's actually an interesting thing that you indeed highlight. We've seen two variations of Byzantine build, but usually players don't go for the berries at the beginning. They just wait for the landmark to be placed on the berries. But this time around, Baltune is going for the berries immediately. Do you think that this could be a setup for potentially a Hippodrome play?
I mean, there is no way you don't go Hippodrome if you do that, yeah? So, Hippodrome, I guess, and I guess it's kind of smart if you play against Kiljardi, because you know he's gonna attack into you. So if you have some good cavalry, it's gonna be harder for him to attack. So maybe in this way, if you think about it, it's not too bad. I will still go for the Grand Cistern any day, but I see the idea at least.
Well, growth is going to be the option chosen over here by Kiljardi. Baltune on the other side, coming up with that Hippodrome. We've seen quite some Hippodrome plays just when the new Civilization Byzantines were released back then, but ever since then they've kind of fallen off, and we've mostly just seen the berry landmark instead.
Yeah, it's pretty much always the berry landmark. This one is really not bad, it's actually decent, but the other one is just way too good for this one to be picked. That being said, this game is gonna pick this one, so we're gonna see how it works, right? We make some cavalry, use Triumph, and hopefully it's trading better into your opponent's army. That's a lot of sheep, actually. He got a lot.
Yeah, that's a decent haul, especially when you just play one scout out there. Hippodrome was scouted immediately by Kiljardi, and I mean, I think this is where we have to start discussing the fact that Kiljardi is known to be one of the most aggressive players out there. But when you open Hippodrome as Baltune, you're trying to set the tempo of the game. So how much does that take away from the gameplay of Kiljardi?
I mean, maybe he's gonna have to defend first, and then he's gonna attack, I guess. So, for sure, like right now, he's gonna have enough to make Horseman, and on top of that, he's gonna make instantly some Mercenary. So I guess Longbow will make most sense with in a combination. But if you just want to make pure Cavalry, you could go Kejix. So I guess we will see his choice right now. But I feel like if you go Kejix plus Horseman into someone who can go Camel, that's kind of weird. So I would expect him to go Longbow.
Well. I mean, we're going to find out in just a second. It's going to be a stable opening here for Kiljardi. So far, a very peaceful Dark Age, way too peaceful for the playstyle of Kiljardi. By the 5th minute mark, he usually has like 20 army on the field in his normal games.
20, sure. No, but yeah, he likes to attack a lot. He went echoing though, but he's going echoing to have more army in the end. So it's not like he's going echoing to have a better second TC or whatever. He just wants to make more units. So that's very typical Kiljardi.
Need Spearman upgrade coming in here. It's going to be Spearman Horseman on the other side. Baltune with Horseman as well. He's yet to spend his olive oil here, but I guess one of the cool things that you get from going for the berries right at the beginning of the game is that he already has 700 olive oil to work with.
Yeah, that's a very good amount. I really wonder what he's gonna go for. I really think Longbow will make a lot of sense. That's not Longbow, I'm quite sure.
Nope. That is definitely not Longbows out there. I don't think it's the Eastern contract either. That has a different icon.
That's Longbow.
Actually, that is the Longbow. Okay.
Good
Yeah,
to know. I'm stupid.
I was certain that it's not the Keshik one, okay?
Ready? Okay. Kick W.
That's fine, okay? I still remember the days. I think Beastie was here costing like a year and a half ago. And that's where he said, like, listen, I don't know the cost of these units. I was like, I just know how many villagers I need to distribute so I can continuously produce them. So, you know, sometimes it happens. People are just like, I don't know what icon is. I just know what button or what hotkey I have to click to actually get the thing I want.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so let's see what's happening. He's making a lot of units. He made a tower, which is surprising, considering it's Kiljardi, and he always attacks. To be fair, he has a big army, so he could actually put pressure on the map. But so far, it seems like a pretty defensive playstyle. That being said, that's a blacksmith, and that's more and more units. So maybe it was just a tower to have a safe gold for the whole game.
It kind of feels like, indeed, Kiljardi is just piling up his troops before venturing out onto the map. At the same time, Blacksmith is in as well for Baltune. He's getting the ranged attack upgrade as we speak. He's also been investing into the food upgrade. Same goes for Kiljardi. Only difference really is double broad axe. That's already there for Kiljardi. Baltune has not invested into that.
Yeah, he's going for the +1 on food instead, and +1 attack on the longbow. I mean, to be fair, right now, his army doesn't look too good. Like, he doesn't have that much, and it's already 10 spears. So if they actually fight, Baltune is gonna have a problem. But if he keeps making an army, eventually he's gonna have a lot because of mercenary.
Well, looks like this is the push that Kiljardi has been waiting for. Baltune might have been a little unprepared for this. 2 villagers getting caught in the front line. Longbow is also being banked up by all these horsemen. And this is just bad for Baltune. It looks like he got distracted with his cavalry to the north. He was being chased by Kiljardi. But now Kiljardi just jumps the berries, and that is such a good fight for the yellow player.
Yeah, very good fight. I feel like it was mostly coming down from the miss macro from Baltune. He started going for mercenary very, very late, when he already had like 700 olive oil. So if he was perfect on the macro, maybe he would have 10 longbow. And if he has 10 longbow, it's a very different story. I mean, yeah, of course, if you look, like, he already has 8 longbow now, so if he for sure didn't miss macro, he would have them for the fight.
House also being set on fire,
Yeah.
not destroyed though. Interesting, interesting choice there.
Okay, wow. I didn't expect the tower here. I feel like it's overkill. You could just go on those berries and then you go on the next one and you make a tower there for sure. But this one feels like a little bit of an overkill.
Some walls coming up all the way in this corner. That's not necessarily something I expected. It would secure that large gold deposit plus the berries as well, but I don't know about you. It feels maybe a little premature.
Yeah, a little bit premature, I think. But he's for sure like going there later on, so it's not too bad. What is premature though is +1 armor on his units right now, Baltune. He's going +1 armor like he's facing archer, but he's only facing like maybe a few towers, but it's not even house hits. I feel like that's a bit overkill. I would rather go double broad axe, for example, to have better economy. Especially since he lost 2 villagers. I feel like the +1 armor is not doing anything for himself. Ooh la la.
Oh boy, that's exactly what Kiljardi needed.
Yeah.
A couple of villagers moving out as well, and this is getting very precarious for Baltune. There was already growth on the side of Kiljardi for some villager lead, but that is 6 villagers killed before the 11-minute mark hits. Baltune is yet to find a single villager kill here, does push the gold mine, but there is defensive tower here. I don't know if his Limitani are accompanying this force though. This could be dangerous if all the horsemen from Kiljardi come back.
Yeah, it could be dangerous for sure. I don't think he has any limit over there. But I think he's gonna have to go for a fight right now, Kiljardi, so he doesn't lose any villagers. If he doesn't want to lose any, yeah, he's gonna have to fight now. Okay, he's gonna lose 1 or 2.
Oh, he's making a run for it, and he does get away. Horsemen are also coming back here for Kiljardi. You can see it on the minimap. First Limitani making their way through. But so far, this has been really good for Kiljardi. Ends up losing 1 villager, but he managed to pick off 6 on the other side. Now has an eco lead of 8.
Yeah, he needs way more on wood, so he can go archer. For now, it's 9 Limitani, so if he takes this fight right now, he's gonna get destroyed. Just because he doesn't have any archer to support his army. So he has to be careful. He really cannot take the fight right now. Oh, we didn't see. He was castle already. Did you see? I didn't see.
Oh, I didn't either. Oh my lord,
Okay.
yeah. Like, it's missing from the UI normally,
Yeah.
and we technically have that fancy production stuff where producers show that to us. But, you know, sometimes even the producers don't notice because really your only clue could be that the player just lost a bunch of resources. But now this is a very, very different setup indeed because Kiljardi is up to Castle Age. Suddenly he's going to start mixing in the Gulam.
Yeah, Gulam, I guess you go upgrades on both horsemen and pikes. You're gonna need some more food. Think that the army comp is still not too good for Kiljardi, I think. Having Gulams just helps a bit against Archer, obviously, and Spears, but it's still not perfect. So I guess you really want to avoid any fights. Just want to make more and more units. And when you are ready and you have enough Gulams, you can fight. But
Yeah,
for now,
slowly
he's not
mixing
ready.
in. Slowly mixing in the Gulam. Spearmen do take out this 1 horseman, and now that these walls are complete, this berry patch is going to be very, very secure. So Kiljardi is going to be nice and safe back at home. I don't know about you, but I love this tiny wall here. The little one with the gate, even. Technically, it would be a fairly secure position already with the walls up. But he just doesn't want any cavalry running past his walls and then getting into that little pocket.
Yeah, it's very smart. Very good wall. You can go there with his gold economy now. So yeah, he went culture wing for sure to advance. Which is obviously very worse. You get to age up very fast, and then you can start taking off relics, make gulams, make very good units. So let's see if he can actually harass or like try to find reinforcements maybe. But he's gonna need to do something with his castle age if he actually wants to kill Baltune.
Baltune does have a substantially larger army right here, and he went very heavy into the Limitani. At the same time, Gulam count isn't impressive right now. It's just 6 out there, no relics whatsoever for Kiljardi. And Baltune is up to 1,000 food per minute. So if he wants to get up to Castle Age, he could click up in a minute or so. It's going to be long gold though, but this is a nice fight. And looks like Baltune has no desire to go up to Castle Age. He just wants to take this fight to his opponent here in Feudal.
Yeah, you can take fights with Triumph and if you focus well, spears with longbow. So far he's not doing too good, I think. Not the best fight.
Yeah. He is surrounding these troops, though, so all these Gulam will go down. Spearmen were repulsed as well. Camel Lancers are slowly making an appearance, though, and that's going to make life a lot more difficult for these horsemen.
Yeah, but terrible fights. And now he's reset back to 0. I mean, not to 0, but to almost 0, which is really not what he wants. He really wants to reach maybe like 10, 15 Gulams to take a good fight. Maybe have +1 armor on them. Have some upgrades. Maybe you do a mix with Archer to help them, but he's going Manjanic, that's weird.
Yeah, but I mean, the window might be closing here for Kiljardi, because guess what? Baltune is about to click up the cost ledger as well, and he's got a substantially larger army than his opponent, and also, Kiljardi needs to protect all these villagers to the north. That breach on the walls is fairly risky. This one horseman should just get taken out, but this breach up north, now that's a lot more terrifying.
Okay, he's gonna have to run away for sure. And it's gonna be castle against castle, except Baltune is gonna have so much more army. I mean, to be fair, like, when it will be castle, with the cost of upgrade and everything, it will be pretty close of an army supply. But it was still looking very, very good for Kiljardi. And now, I mean, it still looks good for him, I think. But it's getting more close, more competitive. Oh my
villagers going back, and that's where the Hippodrome comes into play. Oh my word. There it goes. There goes all the eco lead that Kiljardi had. In the blink of an eye, all the villagers lost, and suddenly, Kiljardi's position is looking worse and worse.
That was terrible. Yeah, he just clicked the wood, and since the wood line is not big, some villagers went around. He has a Manjanic to help himself defend, but it's not very useful. Like, you cannot really push with that. It's just very hard to defend, and the value it gives is only defensive. The problem is that you're playing fast castle in both sides, so you're gonna want to play outside of your map to take relics, and that's really not a good unit to help you move out and take good fights outside your base.
Not a lot of walls here for Baltune, so Kiljardi might be looking to just slow this game down, send in a couple of Camel Lancers for raiding. That's exactly what he's been doing recently. But if Varangians are now making an appearance for Baltune, he's also up to 23 Limitani. His food income kind of shrunk, though. It looks like he just ran out of berries, and then suddenly he's struggling to mass-produce these units because of food shortages.
Yeah, he still has 1 berry on the right, but he needs to go there. For now, he's on Deer Park, apparently. He's not gonna get any more longbow since his economy is like 5 or 6 farm, and it's not around the Grand Vinary, so you don't really have any income from that. It's really small. He's gonna get horse one upgrade, Limitane upgrade, maybe you get longbow upgrade, obviously, and then maybe you can fight, but that's a pretty scary army.
Looks like Kiljardi is going to make the push to Manjaniques to support this. No anti-siege whatsoever from Baltune. He's actually getting the veterancy for the Horsemen just now, but the Horsemen won't be around for this fight. They actually are looping all the way around down south, looking to hit that gold mine from Kiljardi. It's not like they would help much, though, because they are facing a lot of camels here anyways. Instead, Baltune might be looking to just hold this with the Limitani.
Yeah, I feel like you can micro this. You just need to micro very well.
Oh my, though. A lot of infrastructure being taken out by the Manjaniques. Baltune looking to dive this. He has to dive this, otherwise his base is just going to get wrecked. Nice body blocks by Kiljardi, though, just not letting those troops hit the Manjaniques. And now Manjaniques firing beautiful volley on those longbows.
Yeah, not the best micro from Baltune. He can do a bit better, but it's still a decent fight so far. It really depends on what the melee units are going to do at the top, if they can break in or not. And it decides to go back. I think he's right. He's not doing good enough so far. Good run by though, at the same time. So maybe he can actually kill economy.
Yeah, it looks like, oh, there it is.
Not.
There it is. I mean, the run by was great, but at the same time, his own base was about to get ragged. Manjaniques would just take out so much infrastructure in an instant. Really, it looked dicey at times here for Kiljardi, but when the dust settles, it was all about that one massive decisive push that he made at the very end, and that was the one securing the game for him. What do you make out of this game, though? How do you feel the power balances between the two players? Is this a series that you can see going all the way to the 5th game?
I mean, I didn't like the strategy from Baltune. The Kiljardi strategy was pretty normal, I think, especially from him. Only like he made one massive mistake, right? Like the moment he lost all of his villagers. So I feel like he made such a big mistake that it made it close. But overall, I feel like Baltune made a bit more mistakes than Kiljardi.
Well, that puts Kiljardi up 1-0,
Oof.
and it looks like we're going back to a standard classic land map. Dry Arabia is going to be the map of choice here for Baltune. That's the first out of his 2 home maps. And it's a Delhi pick facing off against Malians. I still remember the time earlier today when you said, if you play Delhi in a best of 5, you've done something wrong.
Yeah, but here he's done something right. He got against Malians. So yeah, this matchup is one of the hardest matchup in the game, I think. Malian is just really hard to play against it. If I had to play this matchup, I would go. I mean, early H2, you go for a second pit mine, you get your economy going, but you don't go for any co boom. You just make like a some co under your TC to make sure you have good harvesting, but then you just make mass units, and you just try to fight H2 and never go co, I guess. Just pure food and wood, and you just make units non-stop.
I mean, make units non-stop. Easy win, right?
That's
but
doable
of
at
course,
least, but that's hard.
It's easier said than done indeed. But as a reminder, folks, you know, one player at the very end of this online stage next Sunday is going to qualify for the LAN in Spain. But of course, the others will not go home empty-handed either, because there is a pretty substantial prize pool for this event overall. Of course, sponsored by Red Bull, $50,000 in total for the whole event. And out of that, $20,000 is essentially the combined payout for the players eliminated in the online stage.
Big boy money.
So, we just have 1.5 minutes left to go.
Yeah.
I think this is a good time to also touch on the remaining maps over here. Holy Island, I actually wanted to ask you about that because this is a good time to talk to a pro player about this. I always had this feeling that Holy Island might be one of the hardest maps for pro players to play, because oftentimes you might just have to focus on so many things. Building up your eco, maybe fighting on land, microing water. How do you feel about this? Is this really one of the most challenging maps as a pro player to play?
Yeah, anything that is long water fight is probably the hardest kind of map. What other maps are very hard? I feel like Archipelago is easier since it's only water. And yeah, having the pressure of land plus the pressure of, like, if you reach castle, you can have knights in your base. It's really hard, you have to be very sharp. So yeah, it's probably the hardest map. For Lexi is different. Because like you don't really fight on water usually. So it's just like you have a water economy, but I think it's pretty easy to play. It's literally like you just play for your own water, you defend your pawn if it gets attacked, and then you just have 2 pawns against 2 pawns, and it's just a normal macro game with hybrid economy. So I don't think for Lex is not... I don't think it's up there on the hardest map.
But well, we won't have any water on this map, folks, over here. It's called Dry Arabia for a reason. We're jumping into game number 2 with Kiljardi having the 1-0 lead over Baltune. Kiljardi with the color yellow as the Delhi Sultanate, and down south, Baltune with the color red as the Malians.
Okay, that's a very good map spawn.
Oh, that's such a lovely spot for Baltune for a pit mine, and you know, you look at his additional gold mines that he spawned with. All of those can be secured so easily. This is as good as it gets for the Malian player, right?
Yeah, that's a dream spawn against Delhi. I think if you have this spawn, actually, you can go Koboom and you can kind of win the game if you play it very well. Just needs to be... You need to be greedy, but smart about it. Not be too greedy, don't die to some just guys riders. But at least here you can just wall. You can force your opponent to actually go fully around your base to do any attacks, which is super hard. And you can actually have a good shot of winning.
On the other side, of course, we do have the Delhi out here. It's kind of predictable what they're going to go for, at least for early game. As a side note, I don't know about you, but I don't really like the map for Kiljardi here. His golds are on the front, which is, I mean, early game it's gonna be fine. He's going to get his gold from the sacred sites, but I feel like his base is definitely a lot more vulnerable compared to what Baltune has.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's gonna be a very good one. I guess maybe ship count is gonna matter because he's gonna want to be as greedy as possible. So if he have a lot of ship, he can actually be greedy. If he doesn't, he's gonna have to make some co under his TC, which is a big expense. So that's something we can look at. But other than that, he can just play super safe and super defensive with his map, and it's gonna be all good.
Spit mine coming up here for Baltune. Again, I think this is a good time to highlight that neither of these players have ever reached as far as the top 8 in a major tournament before. And one of these two will, because while we say goodbye to one of these two players, the other one is going to be in the top 8 tomorrow.
Yeah, who is he gonna play? He's gonna play against the loser of. Let me think.
It's going to be against the player losing the Puppy
PC1.
Paw versus Lucifron
Already?
matchup,
Okay.
indeed.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, that's gonna be a hard opponent no matter what, right? Like, I mean, to be fair, like right now he's getting just to the best player in the world, so there is only great player remaining. So obviously it's gonna be some very hard match for them. But maybe, you know, like Kiljardi and Baltune are doing pretty good right now, so maybe they stand a chance. Who knows?
Yeah, to be fair, you never know this light. Obviously, one thing to highlight here is that this is the elimination bracket, so there is always that fear of elimination looming over you. And, you know, every pro player handles that differently. One thing that's sure, Puppy Paw and Lucifron, they are savvy veterans. They've been in positions like this before. Kiljardi and Baltune, maybe not so much, so it remains to be seen how much that pressure from potential elimination gets to them. At the same time, maybe Kiljardi or Baltune going into the top 8, they will say, okay, I didn't even expect to get this far, so they might just be relaxed, saying, listen, there is no pressure.
Yeah, might be the case. We would have to ask them, but I think yeah, they will go with no pressure and just try to play their best. Already walled up. That's a little bit early. If he goes for a full wall, I would think it's a good idea. If he just doesn't wall the main base, I think that would be not so good. That's fine. You can just wall around it. It's fine.
Kiljardi just trying to be a little disruptive over here. Villager stalls out for a moment. I think in this case, the Villager just stops though, so you have to manually click it through, right?
Yeah, you do.
So.
But your Scout is... I mean, his Scout have more HP, so it's totally fine. If your Scout is lower HP, then it's annoying. But in this case, it's fine. And he even went for the wall here, around this TC. So now he's ready full wall, and he can just go second pit mine, and he can just go Kaboom as much as he wants.
Well, it's going to be full walls here for Baltune. Early scouting gives that intel as well to Kiljardi. Kiljardi opts to go with the stable, no surprise over there, but right after that comes a blacksmith. So we're going to see some of those early blacksmith upgrades come in as well. I actually wonder if Kiljardi can leave this base, because he might not be able to run past the TC without being killed, especially because it looks like Baltune opted to just wall to the TC, basically.
No, yeah, it's just gonna die eventually. But he's on the stable already, so it's not too big of a deal. Okay, that's a big wall.
Is that Baltune just saying, listen, I don't want that scout to get out? Or is he afraid of Gauzy Raiders just running past his walls? What's happening there?
I think Gauzy Raiders for sure. I don't think it's likely he would run past the wall like that, but maybe. And it's only like 30 more wood, so why not? He's making a second pit mine, eco upgrade, even some javelins. So it means like, you really don't want to come to my base, because if you try to kill my wall, I'm just gonna throw you javelin at you. So like, it's gonna be a weird one, but he's gonna need a lot of units if he wants to actually go in.
Well, first Gauzy Raiders are out there. Baltune pretty much forfeiting map control here. Should give basically all the sacred sites to Kiljardi. Sanctity almost finished. Look at the javelin throw. It's like, nah, I want to be done with this guy, and indeed he is.
Yeah, now you just defend your wall, and you make... I mean, you have to make some spears at some point, but you can be pretty chill about it, not make too many. Just try to be as greedy as possible, and go for the 18 Kaboom. You have a second pit mine already. So yeah, he's doing good for now. Just needs to make sure he doesn't go too much on food, and he goes a lot on wood and on gold pretty evenly. So he makes sure to have the right way to boom.
Javelin thrower sent out here to just repulse all these Gazi Raiders. Villager has been pulled for the repairs as well. It's a long walk, so this villager is definitely idled out a little here. But really, if you're Kiljardi, are you happy with this? Getting all the map control for basically no significant investment?
No, since you are in a free win matchup, you would love to get the free win, and so far it doesn't look like a free win. So I think he's not very happy about the situation.
Second pit mine has been dropped just now by Baltune, so houses will come up shortly as well. Upgrades are just now finishing, and well, Kiljardi is going to have at least 2 sacred sites here. I guess this is again a good time to have a conversation about sacred sites and your mindset on them. One of the things that always puzzled me a little is when players leave sacred sites open. How do you feel about walling in the sacred sites? Is that investment really worth it? Especially in high-level games where your opponent will look to just sneakily decapture these sacred sites.
I think since you're gonna push left this game, you just try to secure the site on the right with a wall, and the 2 other in the middle and on the left you don't care about it. You just play around it with your army, and you just try to wall the one on the right, I think.
You can't imagine how happy I am that you said that, because I was thinking the same. Like, wall in that right side, and then you can just focus on these 2 sacred sites close to one another. But, you know, every time I watch a game where you have a player with 3 sacred sites, one very far away from the other 2, I'm just like, why is that far sacred site not walled in? You can just limit the playing field so much more.
Yeah, I just need to send 1 archer and he's gonna slowly do it. I don't think you can send way more, because if you send more archer, you're just gonna lose tempo, and you really want to attack very fast, so that's why I guess we are just lazy sometimes, but normally you really want to make sure your sacred site is tickling down. It's a real potential win condition, so it will make sense to actually try to win this way.
It's going to be a sofa build here from Baltune. He has yet to show them, I think, so this might be a somewhat nasty surprise for Kiljardi, but again, that's where those Gazi Raiders come into play. Even that tiny bit of bonus damage you get against heavy units, it's something that makes them so much better against sofas than normal horsemen are.
I'm very surprised he's going so fast like that. So fast, Javelin Towers, only 3 co for now. So he's going very greedy, but not very greedy at the same time. I don't really get the point. It's already on 3 sacred site now, so he's just gonna be behind in economy and in army count. It feels like if he was booming, he would stand a small chance. But since he's not booming, he's just gonna die miserably. Maybe he's gonna try to go for a run by, I don't know, with a lot of sofas. But I don't see in World War it's gonna be good to go sofas against mass Gazi Riders. To be fair, like, he's going mass archer so far, so maybe it's fine.
Yeah, it's an interesting call on both sides if you think about it. Sofas into Gazi Raiders, whereas you make archers, even if you don't know that the sofas are coming, you're making heavy archers against potentially mass javelins. So none of these compositions were actually meant to beat what the opponent has.
Yeah, it's a weird one where they didn't scout too much, especially Kiljardi, right? Because he cannot really scout well against all of those walls. But yeah, he's going for a weird counter army. It's gonna work at first, but so far they're really not too good. So having +1 attack on an archer already, he can just make a transition into spears. He already has a few Gazi Riders. Let's see, maybe it's gonna work.
And this one is big. Sofas revealed on the left side. Gazi Raiders can respond to that, but more importantly, it means that Baltune isn't going to get surprised about all these sofas with his archers. He's going to have to flee from the corner as well, but at least he does have a little wiggle room now. Now he knows sofas are out, so he can respond in kind.
Yeah, lost 1 villager so far. Few archers. He's gonna lose sacred site on the right, I guess. There is nothing to defend there, at least not enough.
And walls were never completed on either of these sacred sites, although this one should be close to completion. But at the same time, the one on the right side is going to get decapped. More sofas are swinging in from the right side towards the base of Kiljardi, though. So Baltune is definitely doing all that he can to raid his opponent. But, you know, sofas, they're not so fast. Because, guess what? Gazi Raiders do outrun them.
Yeah. No, it's some small knights pretty much. So Gazi Riders they go faster, and on top of that, they counter them, so that's why they are so good. I will not comment on the joke.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that you completely disregarded the pun that I've been working on for the last
sorry.
5 minutes.
Sorry, I will let Twitch chat decide. I am not getting involved.
Okay, I'm seeing laws on the chat, so I must be funny.
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Anyway, all 3 sacred sites are still under the control of Kiljardi, though. 2 minutes passed by from the sacred site countdown, so if he keeps control over 3 sacred sites, that's a big win. At the same time, he ended up losing 7 villagers to all these sofa raids. It's starting to sting.
Oh, that's gonna be close. He has to click it. No, he doesn't click it. Because maybe the sofa are blocking it? I'm not sure.
The walls go down, and it's annoying because you actually have multiple segments going down. Sofas will stand their ground. At least for the time being, they stall out the sacred side, but they might be able to decap even, although the Ghazi Raiders are closing in.
Yeah, very close.
Still, villagers are falling left and right,
9
though.
villagers. 9
That's
villagers.
so many.
Yeah. And sacred site is gonna get uncapped. That's very worrying.
It's just a little too late from Kiljardi to make it there. So, countdown is gone. He still has a good passive gold income from these, but losing 9 villagers, that hurts a lot.
And Kiljardi is pretty rich too. He has a lot of food. I don't know, that's a weird one because maybe you killed a lot of villagers and that's amazing in any normal games, but you're against Delhi and he might be pissed off. So no, maybe he's gonna attack you and he's gonna kill you. That could actually happen right now. If he dives right now, he wins the game. So yeah, that could be dangerous.
It's very tricky because let's not forget, Delhi have all the eco upgrades. They had them for quite some time for free, so that definitely helps a lot. And then that sacred site is going to be recapped. And looking at Baltune, he lost most of his army. He still has 8 sofas or so, but some of them are circling the enemy base. And now Kiljardi is walling his right. Like, that right side being open, that was part of the reason why these sofas were able to find so much value.
Yeah. On top of that, Baltune macro is not the best. He has a lot of gold right now. So instead of having Co in range, he just has still a lot of lost gold pretty much. So that's pretty sad. So he has to be very careful. He's already on 14 Co, which is amazing. But he's gonna have to spend the gold. And I'm not really sure how he wants to do that. Maybe he just wants to make some TC Co for his villagers, so he can harvest very well. But that's way too much gold, and it should be way more on food and wood.
Sacred Site countdown begins once again, and this time around all of these sacred sites will be walled up. But what's more concerning for Baltune is that battering ram that's out there already. 19 Ghazi Raiders, 25 archers. You look at Baltune's army, it's archers. It's not even javelin throwers, it's sofas and archers. That feels rather disappointing against that many archers and Ghazi Raiders.
Kind of, yeah. I guess this army is very good if you get to age 3. But for now, archer and sofa, that's not gonna do it at all. He's gonna get destroyed by Ghazi Raiders. 21 Ghazi Raiders. He's just gonna die, I think, to the E move.
And he's got Kiljardi does. Kiljardi has the boost from the Tower of Victory as well. These archers are so much better than what Baltune has right now. Yeah. Baltune needs to age. He is aging. He's going up with the Grand Fulani Corral. 25 Veils building. It just goes to show how urgent it is for him to get to Castle Age.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a real one. He's gonna try to dive the TC instantly. Surely. Maybe he can get the upgrade in time. Maybe like the Sofa upgrade, he's gonna get upgraded in like 20 seconds. But it's gonna be only 9 sofas against so many Ghazi Raiders. Archers are gonna be able to click archers one by one.
Oh, this is such a chaotic positioning here, though. So many narrow choke points, but you can see Baltune is trying to fall back over here. He's trying to go for imported armor, but that upgrade takes so much time. He just clicked veterancy for the archers. Feels like it's too late here. Kiljardi is already diving, and by the time that upgrade finishes, all the archers might be gone.
Yeah. Sofas are doing good now, but it's not many, sadly for him. So it's they're gonna die. And he can just dive the economy, right? He can probably go on the ranch with the few rams. And then he should be able to do good. To be fair, like right now it's getting to a worrying point, I think, for Kiljardi, no? The army is getting way smaller. Sofas are coming out. Still 48 villagers to 41. I think if he holds, that's gonna be very scary for Kiljardi. And that
Yeah.
looks like a somewhat of a hold.
I tend to agree. The villagers are heavily idled out, but guess what? Kiljardi doesn't know about all these villagers just having left the base and being safe on the outside. And if this army gets cleaned up, it's getting dicey for Kiljardi.
Yeah.
He's going to lose most of his army, and he's still stuck in feudal age. Battering ram is also a big investment over here. Now, battering ram started knocking down those farms, those pastures. So I actually wonder how many still remains. But this is a full cleanup here by Baltune. And at the end of the day, his economy looks a lot better now.
Yeah, and so far they're fully upgraded. So he has like the veterancy and the +2 armor. So it's gonna be very, very, very hard to kill this unit without any spears. And even with a lot of spears, it's still gonna be very valuable. So I guess now you retake Sacred Site and then you just go for the kill if you can.
Yeah, Baltune is now looking very, very sharp. And these raids, they've been so annoying for Kiljardi. Just look at his base. He had to build walls all across the board, and then he's still getting raided, harassed. In this game, he lost 15 villagers. These sofa raids are really what make the difference right now.
I mean, for sure, yeah. He killed 10 very early on. So it's not like even if he lost villagers right now, it would not be that big of a deal. But he lost them super early, so his army was very impacted from the loss. So that's gonna be hard.
Tower rush coming in here from Kiljardi. You just know he wants to be aggressive, but it's not a position where he can be aggressive. Although it looks like now he's piling up resources for Castle Age. His resource bank is rising very rapidly. And remember, he still has 3 Delhi Sacred Sites, so that's no pushover.
Yeah, but he's trying to take a fight, so I'm is just gonna try to sell the gold, I guess. And then he's just gonna make more army. There is no way he goes age up with this army while attacking and losing it. So I don't really get the plan.
Well, he's still piling up resources. It really feels like he wants to go to Castle, but he takes the premature fight here. Ghazi Raiders still get a bonus against sofas, but as you highlighted, these sofas, they're just so good. These are costly units with imported armor, and I think that shows on the playing field.
Yeah, that's a one-sided fight. He's gonna be able to kill the few villagers on the berries right after that. Take the sacred site, and yeah, that's pretty much GG.
And there it is. Baltune striking back in another very, very quick game. Kind of what we expected from this series. Just bam, bam, bam. Less than 20-minute games. And we already have 2 games done. Baltune striking back over here. What do you think was, was this simply just, as the civilizations are apparently a little misleading at the very top, but was this just Kiljardi losing those 10 villagers and basically GG? Or were there multiple things that went wrong for him such that he lost this game in the end?
No, I think it was only the villagers. But it's actually, yeah, it's a massive mistake, right? You cannot lose 10 villagers for free at the start of the game and be fine. So he lost the villagers, and then after that he's slightly behind. He sees that it's Castle Age, so he has to push in, but at the same time it's very well walled off. So he was losing so much to the TC, and in the end he barely is getting cleaned, and that's enough for a win with Mali. You have more villagers than your opponent, and then you have the Koboom plus Stupid Mine. That's not very close in economy. That's very one-sided.
And with that, we are tied at 1. Let's hear what KP has to say about this, though, because again, he's been watching from the sidelines, and I'm sure he was very excited about these 2 games.
You know what? I'm just starting to think Baltune is a god of Malian comebacks. This gave me flashbacks to what happened in the good old Norwegian LAN, where actually Baltune was able to pull off just as messy but miraculous of a comeback up against Voldemar in a Delhi Malian match. Oh, yeah, there's Voldemar. He looks like he's doing well right now. Yep, it's okay, buddy. Deep breaths. It's okay. You go find a corner and hide in it. Kind of like Baltune did in that game to get back in. But it means we develop a deeper set here. And, you know, kind of looking at the playstyle so far, Marine Lord, you know, we said that we expected Kiljardi to be the aggressor. We saw Baltune try to change that in game 1. Do you think that, and I remember you saying you think at the highest level defender is the better place to be. Do you think it plays out better for Baltune to just let Kiljardi do these actions, take these moves, and then respond on a delay?
And to be fair, the second game was actually him attacking too, right? Like with a big run by. So I feel like he's not trying to defend at all. I feel like he's just trying to kill Kiljardi when he doesn't expect it. So far on by on this case, and the first game it was just a weird hippodrome build. So yeah, and we have a weird draft again, right? Like it's Mongols against Jeanne d'Arc. You don't see that every day. It's famously like a matchup that is pretty hard for Mongol, but it's a very good trade map. So I feel like on such a good trade map, it's a pretty close matchup, and it's gonna be played out on skill. But I feel like yeah, Jeanne d'Arc maybe is a bit easier to play in this case. So again, a real matchup that's gonna be very aggressive, and they're gonna have to attack each other, right? There is no choice.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the whole idea of trade here. Usually trade feels really risky against Joan, right? Because she farms so much XP. But I
Yeah.
guess the thought process is Joan hates feudal cav civs, right? With heavy cav in particular. And Kashix is an option for the Mongols.
I just feel if you go 2DC against 2DC, you're gonna lose if you go as Mongol. So I guess you just are forced into trading. Maybe you don't go into heavy trade, just like a few traders to bait your opponent out, and then you try to take good fights. But yeah, eventually, obviously, you want Jeanne d'Arc like to not level up too fast. So you want to make sure to take very good fights. And with the moment you have to age up, you're gonna lose your trade, or at least lose the trade line. So you can maybe pull the trade back, kind of, and then just get all your upgrades, get the cool tie going, and then you can fight. But that's a very hard matchup, as I said. It's really technical, and it's gonna be very aggressive. So I would expect a lot of mistakes from both sides because it's just gonna be a clash of a lot of units pretty much everywhere.
Well, someone else that could lead it to be messy, Lidicor. We're getting pretty deep rather into the evening. And, you know, I discovered something I didn't realize about Kiljardi on LAN. He's an old man. Yeah, he gets exhausted pretty easy. He likes to get to bed early and rise early. Baltune, on the other hand, Marine Law knows where I'm going with this. He's a degen as well. This guy stays up at heinous
good.
hours in the evening.
That's good if you want to win.
I mean, you need to get used to it, right? Some of these sets are very, very long, and you never know when it's going to get long. One of these games could easily go 7 hours long. Well, maybe not 7 hours, but we've seen some games, even in AGC tournaments back then, which were like an hour and a half, or dare I say 2 hours long. Imagine that you play a best of 5, decider game comes up, and now you're up for a 2-hour-long game.
I mean, it could be a 7-hour game. I'm just saying, you have got Chamber of Commerce on one side, you got Silver Tree on the other. It could... Okay, I got to address this, because I've heard a few players mention it, and I feel like they're memeing. Marine Lord, is there any truth behind Zone trade builds? Do you think it can work?
I mean, it's good on a Freeze March, I think. But any other map, it's probably pretty bad, so no. I mean, maybe they were speaking about this map, because it's something that can happen. But on any normal maps, I think it's terrible.
Yeah, it's like, I think Chamber of Commerce in general is in a really weird place, right? Like, in theory, it sounds like it should be OP, but it just feels like you're sacrificing your tempo by not getting School of Cavalry, and you're also kind of leaving yourself exposed with a very slow scaling eco.
Yeah, I mean, you're sacrificing your tempo with the two most aggressive in the game, so it's a very weird dynamic. But yeah, on paper, it can work. It's just like very niche and very useful only on a few cases, maybe in a few matchups. I don't feel like you would go into Chamber of Commerce into too many people. I feel like even against Mongols, it's maybe a bit too slow. So I guess it would be done like against China. I remember I did that against people in the final. It was pretty good. But yeah, against China, Abbasid maybe slow saves. They don't really try to trade. Just try to TC booms. Maybe you can do that.
I'm telling you guys, secretly, you've got to pull it out on Archipelago, okay? The transport ship trading play is the secret source that everyone needs to discover. But we won't get that type of water here, right? Lidicor, Holy Island's still on the horizon. You know, Marine Lord already highlighted there's Japanese there. It sounds logical, but I've been noticing more and more pro players say that English is OP in water. In fact, I think M-Lord was one of the players to agree with that.
It's OP pretty much everywhere, so...
Yeah.
English and HRE, you can play them anywhere. It's gonna be a bit too strong, so... But I would still pick Japanese there. I feel like you just pick English on Region. It's a very good map for them. And then you are most likely gonna face... I'm not sure, like, what's the plan for Baltune? Abbasid maybe on Region? If you play Abbasid against English, it's terrible. So maybe he's gonna have to play China or like Rus. So... I don't know. I guess you keep English for the land map, and you play Japanese for the water map.
It's kind of weird, but like, yeah, maybe China for Holy Island, and then you just have the Rooster regions, because I feel like But then you're right. Like Avastus feels like it should be useful. So you probably go for like what, a second TC on the berries, right? Maybe try to play wide.
No, I guess I would just go with China if I was Baltune.
Yeah.
But maybe don't feel comfortable with China. And I will go China on land, most likely, I guess. Feel like Rus is just too strong on water. I mean, actually both would be fair, but I feel like Regio is not the best bounty map. And China is just very good on these kind of defensive maps. So maybe China on land would be fine here.
Let it go. We got to talk about the elephant in the room. Well, actually, it's not an elephant. It's more of a horse. Rus are kind of ridiculous still. I don't understand this. We've now had Rus in the broken state for, I want to say, over 2 years, right? They force a very oppressive style of opening. They get all the vision off of playing that opening. They get one of the fastest average feudal timings. They have walls that for some reason build 33% faster while being 100% better. Like, at what point do we eventually somehow get this Civ finally nerfed?
I think it's difficult because it's over the course of the last 2 years, there were numerous nerfs coming up to the Rus. And several strategies were made a lot less viable than they used to be upon release. The trick with the Rus is that they have an answer to almost everything, and it's a combination of a lot of factors. Unless you take away one of those factors, it's almost impossible to make them like underwhelming. Again, just think about the fact that the whole bounty system guarantees that you have that passive gold income at the beginning of the game. Means that you don't have to mine gold to get the feudal. Maybe even get a freebie wheelbarrow. The wooden fortresses, it's going to buff your lumberjacking income, something that's immensely valuable. It's a pretty substantial eco boost for any civilization. It also allows you to play around boards a lot better, let's say, than other civilizations. And in general, like, it's just a lot more difficult to raid you early game when you have these tanky towers out there. And that is not to mention stuff like, hey, how many civilizations have feudal age knights? Rus is one of them. How many civilizations have a fast-moving monk unit in early Castle Age that you can quickly pick up relics with? And the list goes on and on and on. And I think part of the reason why Rus is just such a good civilization, and I haven't even touched on the fishing, which could be a big factor on a map like Holy
the list
Island.
is getting to, dude. Like,
Yeah,
the list
exactly.
It's hit the ground. It's rolling across the room right now at some point.
Yeah.
Sure.
I wanted to make a couple of examples, right? And then I realized, oh shoot, there is this, there is that, and you know, the list just goes on and on and on. And I think that's a great summary as to why Rus is one of the most beloved tournament civilizations.
Yeah, beloved or hated? Like, are you kind of tired of how they play at this point, Marine Lord? Are you excited for the previewed Rus bounty rework?
I don't really care. I just play the game, to be fair, so...
Okay, so I'm curious then. You just play the game, but if you had to guess, what's the bounty rework going to be? Because they've hyped it up to be this big change.
I have no idea. I guess you don't force people to do the hunt stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe it's gonna be something that goes up with time. I'm not sure how it's possible. Maybe you will give it back to some... I mean, I don't know, like the ship bounty was not that good, I think. So maybe that comes back, but... I'm not sure. That's gonna be something that's gonna be a very big change, but I have no idea how they will actually do it.
So the idea that I've been floating around for a long time and begging for is like, you know, make it a bit more approachable without being oppressive. And one of the big things I kind of highlight is the idea that maybe when you gather from hunt, you get a trickle of gold, right? Kind of like how Japan gets stone when they gather from gold. That way, like, you could accrue more bounty, but you have to play under the map, and it's not like the game is done in 3 minutes, right? Because, like, you know, you've seen it in pro games. When someone gets, like, 400 bounty, like, it shouldn't be happening, but if it does happen, because you have to react to it, or it will happen, it's very oppressive. And that also just sets someone up really nicely, because they now have 3 scouts on the map. So you, in a game where it's all about transitions and counters, you just can't do anything. They see literally everything you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that, man.
I mean, like, oh yeah, we'll see. I'm kind of excited for it. I don't know, ring me, devs. Let's try to figure this one out. Because I think it is I think that will go a long way to fixing a lot of the problems with Rus right now. One thing to dial it back to the draft that's quite intriguing here, though, Lidicor, is you can see the players kind of shining through their style. Yes, Baltune tried to play attacker, but when you look at his civs, he's very nicely padded for a late game exchange, whereas Kiljardi, yes, he has the Ottomans, but I feel like, you know, especially the Japanese being there, he's maybe leaning a bit more feudal castle-esque compared to Baltune's draft.
I agree, and that's kind of what you expect from Kiljardi.
Yeah.
The thing I wanted to highlight though instead is that Kiljardi so far was very straightforward with his Civ picks. Top 3 picks, it has been picked, but now we're heading into Rocky River. The third best Civ pick he had, or the third Civ pick he had, he's going to be using it for this game. Kiljardi with the color yellow as Jeanne d'Arc in down south, or well, I guess I should say more like southeast. It's Baltune with the Mongols in red. And Marine Lord has nothing to add.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to say. Like, it really gonna. Okay, let's see first. Is he gonna go for a tower rush or not? Most likely yes, because that's Mongol. Then what do you do? Like, it's always a weird dynamic because if you actually tower rush Jeanne, you're gonna give her something to attack and to fight for. So it's potentially 4 less spears, so more XP for Jeanne d'Arc. So the dynamic is always so weird into Jeanne d'Arc. And if he has a very good gold, he's gonna be able to age up before you can do anything with your tower. So what really to attack when you are playing against such a weird sieve? And on top of that, the map is pretty big, obviously. Rocky River is a pretty bad map to tower rush just because it's a very long map. So you have a lot of idle time, and sometimes you don't even get your tower off, so that can be hard.
Yeah, how do you feel about that gold mine though for Kiljardi? Like you kind of highlighted, a lot comes down to gold when it comes to this Mongols aggression. That gold mine is very much tucked away at the back. It feels like it's pretty difficult to actually aggress this even as the Mongols.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to actually tower rush this one. I mean, you will probably get a tower on it, but then you still have a front gold that is very easily defendable for Kiljardi. Some people used to go 2DC against Mongols, so you go 2DC, you go Mass Knights Archer, and then you force fight. That's a good way to play it too. So I'm really curious, like, is Kiljardi just gonna play 1TC all in and try to fight forever? Is he gonna go like 2DC to try to bait some fights? I really wonder. And even Baltune maybe he's not gonna go trade, you know? Like, maybe he's gonna go the other landmark and he's just not gonna trade at all. So I'm really curious what they want to do.
Well, landmark is coming up here. Jean, as usual, getting committed to the construction. Now, I don't remember how many sheep Kiljardi was able to bring back, but I didn't see very many, whereas for Baltune, I've seen quite a lot of sheep being brought back, so we might want to take a look at the sheep tally, because indeed, this doesn't look very promising over here for Kiljardi.
Yeah, it's not too much, but it's still a lot to scout on the map, so I'm not too worried for now, but yeah, indeed, that's a lot for Baltune. That's a very good amount. Oh, that's terrible. He's going north side because he thinks gold is there, but it's berries, not gold. So yes, he got a lot of sheep, but he didn't scout very well. So now he's not... Wait, what? Okay, no. I'm just
maybe...
wrong.
Maybe he thought that somehow his way is going to be blocked, doesn't want to... What?
He's
trying to tower rush the wood line. No,
yeah, the wood
it feels
line,
like the target wasn't even the gold mine.
Yeah, it's not, apparently. He doesn't really care about it. It's very interesting. Because you don't, like, you kind of put a problem onto the wood line, but for now it's not gonna be a problem because it's just gonna go around it. On top of that, there is a big wood line on the left too, so it's not the best map to do that. But okay, why not? That's a try, that's something.
Oh, well. Spearman now doing some harassment here on the gold mine, but really this is just one Spearman already pre-banked up, so villagers should be able to resist no problem. Landmark is, of course, close to completion. Baltune ended up going all the way up to 5 Spearmen, but I don't know about you. I feel like these Spearmen haven't really gotten much value so far.
I mean, it's 2 to protect the tower, and then he wants to attack the gold, so... I mean, it doesn't shock me so far. I think it's okay.
Yeah, mining camp gets cancelled over here. That's definitely a bit of a win here. And Jean doesn't have the XP she needs just yet for that tier 2 upgrade. Tower is already complete for Baltune now. I don't think he has line of sight on those villagers. He might even be out of range, but he definitely cannot shoot at those villagers just yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
And look at Baltune. That's a silver tree he's aging up with. Are you surprised about it, or was this something you expected?
I think it's the most likely approach to go for trade. It just feels risky into Jan, but I think you have no choice. Like, you have to trade no matter what. You are Mongol. So yes, Jan, you really want to be defensive and not let her XP at all, but at the same time, you really have to get your economy going.
Double Broadax now completing 4 Kiljardi. He's opening up with Knights, supported by some archers here. And that's where trade could get a little dicey. If you try to trade here with Knights roaming the map, that could fall flat very, very quickly.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see what Baltune does. Is he gonna go mass Keshix? Is he gonna go more spears? So that's woman at arm for sure. It's always this in this matchup. Because if you go archer, you don't put any pressure onto your opponent. Like if you get archer level 2 or level 3, it doesn't change much for your opponent. If you get woman at arm level 3, that's a massive deal. It totally, it's a game breaker, you know. So everyone goes woman at arm in this matchup.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. I've seen 1 or 2 players playing some Archer Jean shenanigans, but generally speaking, it's extremely rare, as Kiljardi opted to go for a Horseman over here. I guess he didn't have the gold for another Knight, and he just wanted to make sure he continues producing Cavalry.
Yeah, I think that's what's happened. Oh, nice small villager kill.
Ooh,
I think
nice
usually
find.
you go woman at arm against thieves. You want to really commit to feudal, and against thieves that are always going fast castle like HRE, OTD, like China, you just go for the archer pick. It's a bit better.
Well, it's going to be a Keshik play here by Baltune, but he was idled out already quite a bit from that one Knight, and this is one of the advantages of having a Horseman out here. Unlike the Knight, the Horseman can chase down the Khan, and it's very possible that this Khan is going to get picked off here from Baltune.
Yeah, it's a small victory. Nothing too big, it's fine. But yeah, Baltune is gonna be a bit in the dark, which is annoying when you start trading. So that could be something. He's going to go on the deer very fast because the tower is blocking the berries and he didn't have many sheep. Unlikely, unlucky.
And there's Silver Tree down in the corner, and at the same time, Kiljardi is also walling off that far left corner. Now, what is that wall for? I'm actually interested in your opinion, because the only thing I see out there is just a couple of berries, and of course, that's a great way to loop around and hit the gold mine, but that's a big investment as well at the same time.
Yeah, it's a bit too much of an investment, I think. It's a bit too much for just a berry pack, but it is what it is, and it's a wood line too, so I need to protect stuff. I'm not too mad about it, it's just not the best wall ever, obviously.
Yeah, looks like no traders coming out just yet for Baltune. Here in the middle, looks like Kiljardi is very aggressive, going out for the hunt over here, moving all the way out, dropping a tower. And it looks like, I think the Keshik will reach that wall before the wall is complete, so the villager might be caught.
Yeah, it looks like Baltune is doing the same as last 2 games. Like, he's baiting that he is doing something macro, with like the trade on the corner, so you must expect some trade, but in the end he's just massing units. So if he's trying to attack with Jan, he's gonna meet a wall, and if he actually doesn't pay attention to his base, he's gonna lose villagers to Keshix. So Baltune, yeah, being very aggressive once again.
Baltune looping around with the Keshik. The tower is still up, by the way. So I think that's something that Kiljardi is going to have to think about in the long run. There is a tower still to the north of his base. And that's actually a tower that denies the berries right now. Keshik do find Jean. Jean retreating, though. Getting that AoE damage out. Knight closes in as well. And looks like Jean is not going to get picked off.
Yeah, oh. Keshiks are finally going in. Okay, he lost Trader. He's on the bad wood line as we said, so he can actually get attacked, which is good. One less villagers on each side pretty much, but it was a trader, so not the same value exactly, but 1 down each.
Yeah, villagers have been picked on both sides here, actually. Kiljardi having some idle time on himself as well, trying to clean up this this Keshik raid. Just looking back at the previous game, that definitely was a key thing to look at. Baltune being very, very successful with the harassment. That time using the sofas. This time around, he's looking to accomplish essentially the same thing with the caching.
Yeah, lumber clump is going down on the right. It's 50 more resources for Baltune. That's always good to have. He's gonna try to find some more damage on the left. Let's see. I guess he's gonna try to run by on the berries again, but he's gonna be walled off this time. So he's gonna have to find another target.
These walls will help a lot for Kiljardi, as Kiljardi himself is starting to pile up these archers. He doesn't really have anything that deals with the enemy Keshik, though. Does have a couple of horsemen out harassing these traders. This is actually the very first trader that came out from that silver tree from Baltune. Gets intercepted immediately.
Yeah, no traders for now. They're all dying one by one. He's gonna try another run by on the wood line, but it's already anticipated from Kiljardi. Doesn't make any spears. He's just making knights and horsemen and archer, and he's happy about it. He seems to be defending very well, so why not? Maybe he's gonna kill a few Keshiks here. Plus 20 XP, that's very good.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Jean, left side of your screen, Jean is already at like 30 to 40% XP. It's slowly getting there, and we're just like midway through Feudal Age, only minor engagements happening, and you yourself highlighted once Jean gets to tier 3, it's a whole new level.
Yeah, it's a different game. Usually, level 3 means it's pretty much GG if it takes a good fight. But level 2 is always pretty easy to hold off against. It's just a very strong unit. Army-wise, I would say it's pretty close. I mean, yeah, army value is literally exactly the same, so that's good. Economy-wise, it's the same. They have no wheelbarrow, no food upgrade, only wood upgrade. Only one trader, so very close economy.
Yeah, it really has been just that poking and prodding type early game. Not something that you commonly see from Kiljardi. I love the addition of the horseman, by the way. Just that chip damage on these slower moving cavalry units is always nice. But this is not your classic Kiljardi game, so to say. He's just like, yep, he's out there on the map. He's doing some harassment. Neither of the players are playing super aggressively right now.
Yeah, I think he's just happy about getting some XP here and there. He sees that the trade is not big, so he's very happy about the situation. He's getting some deer here. I guess he's gonna go for the tower now. He's gonna go for the berries on the top, and then he's gonna go deer top right. I mean, just top. There is a boar there too, so there will be some good food spots.
First trader actually gets through. Does deliver 75 gold, so that's not too shabby. At the same time, Baltune has a massive lead when it comes to clicking up the Castle Age. Spearman evacuated from the tower. And Baltune, he's going to beat his opponent, the Castle Age. No major surprise over here, picking the Coral die. That definitely has been the landmark that received a lot of love, especially if you want to trade a lot in the long run.
Yeah, it's true, but he has only one trader. I think I would have gone for the other one, because I just want my economy to have some sort of advantage at some point. But I understand, like, he's gonna get castle, it's gonna trigger an attack from Kiljardi, so it makes a lot of sense to go Kurultai too. So I don't mind any of the choice. I think both are fine.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, because normally the doctrine is that you go Kurultai if you play Silver Tree, assuming that you have, let's say, 10, 15 traders. But that Silver Tree is basically next to nothing right now. It's only one trader working, so really, you could have opted for the alternative landmark, the Step Redoubt. But it's going to be Kurultai, and that's going to give you a nice little attack buff over here. Might be some much needed attack buff, that's what I wanted to say. Because right now, Kiljardi's army is substantially larger.
Yeah, it could be very scary if he tries to dive. He's very heavy on archer though, and on spears. Only 9 knights. If he was like maybe on 15 knights, I would say yeah, you can just dive for sure. But with this army, I'm not really sure. It's gonna be a close call, I think, if he can dive or not. I mean, you're gonna see, right? He's gonna dive for sure, so... Archer upgrades are coming for Baltune. I would say you better go for the +2 attack instantly, so you can have that for your archer plus your TC. But archer upgrade is very good too.
Well, Kiljardi's looking to dive over here. Archer upgrade coming in for Baltune. Knights looking to jump, but it's going to be difficult because of all these buildings placed around the DC. It's a narrow choke point, and Kiljardi thinks twice about that. He's not going to dive this just yet. But he's also not looking to go up the Castle Age. So it looks like he, for the time being, is just going to posture in front of the enemy base. And this game starts to remind me a lot of the previous game. Eco lead for Baltune. He's up to Castle Age, Kiljardi isn't, and Kiljardi is looking to make a ramp push happen.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Makes a lot of sense. But Ram is not gonna be very helpful in this case, I think. So... I mean, it's gonna be hard, right? Because he has to defend his base against Kashix, and he's still, like, some raids going on. He's gonna have to find some damage left and right, but the TCs are gonna be very helpful. 2 towers on top of that, so it's a lot of protected economy. So you really want to push in, but you really don't have any way to really push in. And your opponent's Adrian +2 attack on upgraded archer. So if Jeanne d'Arc goes in, she's gonna die instantly pretty much. Even knights are gonna die very easily, so that's very scary.
Kiljardi is just going to fall back for the time being. He's looking to pile up the resources for Castle Age as well, walling across the map. Baltune has yet to move out of his base, though, so maybe Kiljardi is going to have a relatively untouched timing into Castle Age over here. Looks like Baltune is very cautious, and he should be. His army is still much smaller.
Yeah, his army is pretty bad. There is no way he can push. Oh, that's nice. Oh, wait, what? Okay, he wanted to... Okay, I was like, maybe he got walled on the right, but no, the wall is not at all walling off the trade. So
Nope.
I guess he just tried to do something and it didn't work. Lost his only trader, poor guy.
Yeah, there's absolutely no traders, but guess what? Baltune now getting pushed on the gold mine. 2 very valuable, maybe 3 very valuable villager picks out there. Kiljardi, he was like, okay, I'm gonna pull back my forces. I'm going to get the Castle Age, but then
Careful,
he
Jean.
saw...
Which
Needs to
is
be
gonna die.
careful. Jean is getting focused down over here. Indeed, Kiljardi didn't pull back in time. And these are Castle Age units. These are no pushover. They also have the extra attack on them. And now Baltune is looking for blood. He's pursuing this army over here. Handful of knights are mixed in as well, but these are feudal age knights, whereas they are fighting against a lot of very well upgraded Castle Age archers. Khan goes down, however, so no more buffs coming in here for Baltune. Still, knights are getting picked apart, spearmen getting picked apart. Really, you gotta say this was a good fight for Baltune, right?
Yeah, it was alright, but it's not the perfect fight, so... For now, it's just fine. We have to be careful because Jeanne d'Arc is almost level 3. I mean, she's dead so far, and he's not repaying her, so... Maybe he doesn't plan to repay. But Guild Hall is coming, and he's gonna get some archer upgrade, I guess. And it's gonna be a weird game because, yes, he killed some economy, and trader count is pretty much only 1, I guess. There is 1 just being made right now. But... The economy is gonna be very weird for Mongol, and I'm not sure how it's gonna go.
That's a fair point that you're raising, indeed. Once Jean gets up to Castle Age, it gets more interesting, and Jean is very close to that level 3. Oh my lord, that is a beautiful surround on that one Kashik. I guess the problem is that the Kashik heals as he fights, so the villagers might not want to stay, and indeed they have to flee.
I guess it got up to Castle Age, Kashyyyks. Now it's becoming a problem. Cannot handle them with villagers. Ooh, there is a big push on the deer pack. Maybe he's gonna kill a few villagers, I think.
Well, he doesn't have anything that takes out this tower, but at the very least, these villagers are idled. There's already... Oh! Kiljardi jumped out for a second and then thought twice about that. More reinforcements are coming in.
Scary.
Oh, the Kurotai could be blocked. He's trying to place this Kurotai right here. Archers are moving up. Castle Age upgrades about to finish here for Kiljardi. And the Kurotai cannot deploy. No attack buff here. And Jean is getting that level 3 just now. She's so close. Indeed, there she goes. And this fight, this is looking so good for Kiljardi, even without the Castle Age upgrades.
Yeah, it's looking very good. It's a very good timing to fight. And on top of that, it's walled behind Baltune. So really was blocked in the corner pretty much. And now he has an issue, right? His army is smaller. Jeanne d'Arc is level 3. It's not that bad, right? Because he's Castle Age. So level 3 in Castle Age is not too tragic. But it's gonna start working on level 4. And Jeanne d'Arc is always very scary at this level, so...
And there come the footmen from Jean. And of course now this is veteran archers versus veteran archers. So, you know, all that tech advantage that Baltune had, it's gone. And the Kurotai is also out here. If Kiljardi pushes through that, or it looks like Kurotai is just going to fall back here, not going to get harassed anymore by Baltune. But Oh, those were just spears, right?
Yeah, some
Yeah,
spears
okay, good.
trying to attack the position, but it didn't work at all.
Yeah, my brain stopped for a moment, and I had to think over what it was that I saw. But indeed, it's just a couple of spears. Equally, it is pretty sizable in the favor of Baltune, but at the same time, this army is looking scary for Kiljardi. These Keshiks also might not really be able to find their way back home. These walls are all complete.
Yeah. Maybe you will be able to run around, but yeah. Crossbow are coming out too for Kiljardi, which are obviously very good against Keshiks. Yeah, I guess he's gonna try to push the trade-off. That could be a good thing to do. He needs to be very careful about the Keshik run by. He needs to fully handle it. And we have to start taking care of Relics and maybe Sacred Site with Jeanne d'Arc if you want to XP a bit more.
Yeah, well, relics are being brought in by Baltune over here. He's going to be up by 2 very shortly. Keshiks indeed do get chased down slowly by the Knights. One thing that I want to highlight, though, is that Kiljardi has been very active when it comes to getting the villagers out on the map. He's been on the hunts, he's been even on the berries. There is some shorefish in the middle as well, and he's been very active taking all of those.
Yeah, he's making sure to take all the economy from the map, which is very important on this map. And he's gonna try to push up early. I'm not sure if that can really work. The army is pretty much the same size, except you have Kurultai and you have Jeanne d'Arc from the other side. So I'm not sure if you really can push into your opponent right there. Okay. Well defended home from Kiljardi. Only a few units left alive, which is good news for him. Baltune is going pure archer and crossbow, which is good, but at the same time against front line plus back line, usually you tend to get overwhelmed, especially when there is a Jeanne d'Arc that is very hard to kill with anything except like spears. That's gonna be a hard target.
Yeah, and of course you do have the arbalestry as well, which, I mean, that's one of the big things out there. Just being able to deploy the Pavisa on the back line makes it so much more difficult for Baltune to take out your arbalestry. At the same time, army count still looking a lot healthier here for Kiljardi. He started mining stone here. Makes me wonder if he's thinking about the keep drop eventually.
Potentially, I will say. Maybe it's for some spring gold towers here and there, but that for sure looks like a keep normally. I wonder where he would like to drop it. Maybe just in the trade line to make sure there is no more trade. That would make some sense.
He's about to push this gold mine once again. Gold mine spawns aren't generous here for Baltune. And now this tower is going to get taken out. Spring Golden placement just about to finish, but it's going to come in way too late. Tower is already on fire. That Spring Gold just fired like a single shot, and that was it. Kurultai is being nearby, though. So Baltune at least does have that attack buff, which easily could be the difference maker between these two armies.
Yeah. Summon some more mana towers. Always very helpful. I don't know, like Jeanne is gonna be very scary, but in such a place she cannot really fight. She doesn't have enough space. So I still feel like he could dive actually. Like I think he has enough. Even against Kurultai, I think he could just go because of Jeanne d'Arc. You make her tank, maybe she's gonna die eventually, but you just make sure she deals a lot of damage and she tanks a lot, and then you're gonna win the fight, and then you just rebuy her. But he seems to take the slow approach. Just wants to deny the trade, and then he wants to castle rope, I guess.
Yeah, it seems that way. He's also very happy just pushing his opponent away from this gold mine. This gold mine has been problematic ever since the beginning for Baltune. Baltune now looking to break out. He doesn't have the Kurultai buff right here. It's going to be archer plus crossbow on both sides, but this is not the entire army that Kiljardi has.
Yeah, he's splitting up to try to kill the trade. Makes sense. What about holy count? It's 2-2. Maybe we could try to take Sacred Site with Jeanne d'Arc too, if he really wants to XP her. I mean, to be fair, she's very far off level 4, so that's maybe not a priority. Maybe he just wants to stay active and unpredictable. The problem with Jeanne d'Arc when you do that is that you are obviously seen, so your opponent knows you're taking a break and you are not attacking at all, so you can take position like that with towers, which he would not be able to if he didn't know where Jeanne d'Arc would be.
And there
Okay.
comes the villager pull. Not enough stone just yet for Kiljardi, and he
Ooh.
actually has the guild hall set on food. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, he wants to imp. This might be.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a red palace.
Yeah, it's gonna be a red pass in the face. That's
Oh,
very YOLO.
that's nasty. It could be a big roll of a dice though. If
Yeah.
it doesn't go up, it could be a disaster. But it's 28 villagers pulled.
It's okay, but
It's-
Jandark is not here. That's crazy.
It's now or never for Baltune. He has to fight this. He has to stop this. He's got the aura as well from the core ulti, and this front line is melting way too quickly here for Kiljardi. Jandar coming in from the flank, but she's so alone. Healing comes in. Jean still alive, but Jean goes down. Red Palace, however, will be finished. So at the very least, Kiljardi is able to maintain this position.
Yeah, that's gonna be a very complicated defense. I guess you have to go Trebuchet now, but that's gonna be very I mean, it's Mongol's Trebuchet, right? So it's not the best. Plus, okay, he just leaves. Okay, why not? I guess it's fine to leave.
Well, that gives game number 2 to Kiljardi over here. You really felt like this was a bit of a risky move here with that red palace drop. For a moment, it seemed like things could get scary for him, but then he was able to finish the landmark, and then, of course, Baltune could back up his base, but then you could have another castle drop on him. How long can you run, right? That is the game that pushes Kiljardi onto a match point, though, and again, if he wins the next game, he is going to be the one going into the top 8 here in the online stage of Red Bull Wololo El Reinado. This would be the biggest accomplishment he had in his career. And I think there is one more thing that's helping him out here as we head back to the lobby. Kiljardi so far has not yet played either of his home maps. This has so far been just the neutral map Gorge and the 2 home maps of Baltune. So all the games that we play from here on out, it's going to be Kiljardi home maps.
Yeah, and he picked English here. So I guess he wants Ottoman region. It's gonna be like Ottoman against Rus or against Abbasid. They are drafting very weird. I don't know.
How do you feel about Japanese going completely unused potentially?
I mean, I don't know. Like Japanese against Rus is slightly good for Rus. Japanese for against China is pretty good for Japanese, I think. So I feel like it's unjustified. I would for sure not use Delhi or Jeanne d'Arc or Ottoman, but he's doing it in a different way, his own way, and it seems to work. So why not?
And indeed, Rus did not end up getting picked on Holy Island here. We just have a Chinese pick. Chinese, it's a very formidable civilization for Holy Island as well. But are you surprised that Rus is still out there for Baltune, especially in light of the conversation we had with KP just before this game launched? You know, Rus just having so many things going for them. Is this a surprise to you?
I think he was scared of English last map, so he wanted to save Rus, but he got English now, so if he knew that ahead of time, I think he picks Rus here, and then he gets Abbasid last game, and he's happy about it. But yeah, it was very weird draft from Kiljardi to pick English here, in my opinion. It was pretty hard to predict, so maybe Kiljardi is just very happy about the situation. I feel like English is better than China here too, but China have some room to play with for sure. Like Holy Island is not the best map for like the +1 range with English. I feel like it's one of the maps where you can go arrow slits and deny the +1 range in mid game. And then the rest of the matchup on the land is pretty okay. Maybe it's kind of scary to face the king on land in the Holy Island.
So what do you think? We have 30 seconds left to go before this game. It's Chinese versus the English. Which of these 2 civilizations do you prefer going into this game?
I mean, king is really gonna be a big issue, I think. He's gonna have to go spears, I guess, to deal with it, which is really not what you want to do, especially against English. Starting spears is terrible, but that's what you do against the king, right? It forces you into a very weird position. Also, we have to say, this map, it can spawn in 2 different ways, and one way is so broken for English, it's when the wood is forward. So wood backward is always way better when you face English. That's a very big, important talking point. But this time it's gonna be the good way for China. He's gonna have a safe wood.
And off we go. Kiljardi 1 game away from essentially having his best ever tournament performance, making it into the top 8 here in the online stage of Red Bull Wololo El Reinado. It is Kiljardi with the color yellow playing as the English, facing off against Baltune. Now down 2-1 in command of the Chinese in red. And this is the home map of Kiljardi. So far, we've been playing the home maps of Baltune. Even in the previous game, Kiljardi opted to play the opponent's home map. So from here on out, we're playing on Kiljardi's home maps. He opted to go with the English, whereas on the other side, we had this pre-game conversation about Chinese versus Rus. Baltune had Rus available, but he opted to go with the Chinese.
Yeah. I mean, Rus against English is gonna be a weird one, but I guess Rus-English, you prefer Rus by a small margin, thanks to the Kremlin that defends your wood line and your gold. But if you have a bad gold spawn like that, like Kiljardi has, maybe English can be fine against Rus too. I don't know. English is just very good right now, so I would not be surprised if it's considered even against everyone.
Well, of course, the English have a lot of things going for them in hybrid maps, which often goes unnoticed simply because for so long in tournaments, we've just seen the English being picked as the land-based civilization.
Yeah.
But the ship discounts, and of course, as you highlighted, the King, a knight-style unit that can heal back up, that is immensely valuable just for the sake of harassment in early feudal age to throw off the enemy's naval build.
Yeah, it's a beautiful combination with the longbows. And obviously, let's not forget, what is it? Admiralty was the name of the upgrade. +1 range on your water combat ship. That's very, very strong, so... Okay, we can see already there is some move. We see Baltune, he didn't go for a lot of scouting. He just went for his opponent's dock instantly, which is something everyone's do. On this map, you just go for your opponent's dock as soon as possible because you want to poke the villager 1 damage at a time, and you try to either keep your opponent's card busy, or you just try to kill the villager, and he's gonna have to walk back home, which is annoying, because you want to get to a fast feudal timing, obviously, and having one idle villager is not what you want, so that's always nice to go there and try to kill your opponent's villager with your scouts, even if it takes very long.
So far, so good. Dark Age, as usual here, as you kind of highlighted. One big thing here is that there was no woodline spawning in front of the players, and that's one of the ways that this map can generate. So far, most of the generations I've seen on this map here in Red Bull Wololo, they have been without that forward-facing woodline.
Yeah, it's very random, but when it happens, and that's good against English to have such a woodline. What can he do with his king, actually? I guess the gold is pretty far forward, so that will be a good point to attack. Maybe if Baltune decides to not wall down the left and the right side of his wood line, it could get attacked too by the king. 7 villagers to age up. He's gonna go for a fast age 2. Makes a lot of sense with this sieve. In this matchup, you really want to just attack.
Indeed, Abbey of Kings, 6 villagers on. It just goes to show how significant that timing advantage could be. Baltune is yet to start building his own landmark here. Now, one silver lining is that if he is really concerned about that aggression on the gold mine per se, he could try to just go with the Barbican for some, I guess, extra defenses.
Yeah, but it's gonna be very costly if you do that. There is no way you go Barbican first, I think. Your economy will be too bad. So I'm quite sure you go for the other one, and then maybe at some point you go for like the Barbican. But going Barbican first will be like, okay, I have safe gold, but now even my wood is not safe, so you don't get that much from it, and it's very expensive, and you don't get the Imperial Academy, which is a good economical bonus. So, I mean, I wonder how he's gonna proceed. Tower on the gold, but then he's gonna need some walls on the wood line, I think.
Well, it's going to be Imperial Academy, indeed. Tower coming up. King is already being queued up, and this villager is actually very low HP.
He's gonna die, normally.
Oh, that's
Is it 2 or 3
annoying for
HP?
Kiljardi.
Hmm?
Especially because
it's
this is an
4, it's
English
fine.
vill. He's gonna be fine.
He's gonna be totally fine. He's gonna heal up too. We love it. Beautiful. One galley on
It
the
got
way.
a lot closer than it was supposed to be, though.
Yeah.
First galley is out already for Kiljardi, by the way. He's actually sailing across.
Yeah.
Like he's
It's-
about to hit that fishing eco, and he's got that king queued up as well already.
Yeah, but it's Chinese production, so it's gonna get his own ship very fast, I think. Yeah, he's gonna get it in like 5 seconds. So maybe if he doesn't micro very well, he will lose a fishing ship. But normally you are totally fine.
And a lot of harassment done over here. Baltune so far so good. Nice micro. His galley is out as well. Still a lot of idle time on these fishing boats, but Kiljardi is going to get pushed away for the time being. Big question though, how do you deal with that king if you're Baltune? Because as this is happening, as that Hawk has been queued up by Kiljardi, the king is also arriving, and looks like Baltune just decided to go heavy on the investment and drop 2 towers.
Yeah, 2 towers, a wall on the right too. He didn't hold the left though of his wood line, so that can be scary. He can actually lose the villager on the dock if he has one, so that's another target. Yeah, that's 100% a good target. He could go there right now with his king and get it for free. So you have so many potential targets with this king. That's why it's so good. And now he's gonna make a few longbow.
It looks like walls will be coming up here though from Baltune on both sides of his wood line, so the king is going to be a little late. But as you said, longbows are already on the way, and the king, he was looking to dive through this, but then it just changes his mind, falls back for the time being. Some big investment forced out of Baltune here though. Double towers, quite some walling. That's a pretty hefty investment.
Yeah, it's already a big investment, and if he made the correct play, he would have killed the villager on the dock. So you see, like, there is no real good way to play against the king. In the end, the king does what he wants, and he kills people. So it's terrible. You really have to play perfectly around it. So playing perfectly around it would mean, to bring the villager back to your base, the one from the dock. But it's so much idle time, and you have so much. Yeah, it's enough. Like, having 2 towers is good, but you arrow seats on both sides if you want to actually be safe. So you need so much investment. Good micro from Baltune.
Oh, that's very, very nice for Baltune. He closes distance, gets rid of the galley demo ship for now, repulsing him. But there is currently no archer ship for Kiljardi, so demos here from Baltune could be great. He doesn't have a single demo out just yet, though. He's just now queuing them up.
Yeah, and he's gonna lack some gold soon. I mean, to be fair, like, he's China, so he'll probably have some tax. They both got 1 eco upgrade. Okay, he's trying to kill the archer ship, and he's gonna do it.
Ooh, that's nice find though.
Problem.
Demos coming in, it's 2 demos as well. There's no way you can snipe both. Kiljardi is trying to body block as well. Demos moving in.
Oh
and
my
now
God.
the demos do connect. That is as good as it gets for Kiljardi. Counter demo coming in though. Just maybe some retaliation found. 1 Hawk goes down from Kiljardi. Still, recent few moments, so good for Kiljardi. And these are the moments he needs to secure his spot tomorrow to get into that top 8. The first time he would be getting into the top 8 in a major tournament.
Yeah, and now the wood line is an issue because he walled very tight instead of walling a little bit further up. So he's gonna have to make units. He really has no choice.
Longbows are creeping up as well. We haven't really been talking about those longbows, but I think they are actually positioned right next to Baltune's walls. And there must have been villager kills to that, because overall Kiljardi has 3 villager kills indeed. Wait, I think that's open. I think that's wide open.
Potentially, I'm not sure.
I think there's a gross overchop right there. I don't think it matters though, because Imperial officers are being picked off. Oh, that's a low HP IO. Yeah. Longbow doesn't focus. It just goes to show how much Kiljardi is focusing on the water. A lot of villagers are low HP, but they haven't really been finished off. Kiljardi now looking to push the water.
King is there now to kill some horsemen. He can even go into the wood line. That would not be surprising. Like, he could go there and kill a few villagers, like maybe 2 or 3, and then he will just probably survive. That's crazy. Okay. Some idle time, he's killing some fishing ship. That's amazing. He's gonna have 2 demo to be worried of, but if he micros well, he should be totally fine. He has enough.
Demos now moving in here. No archer ship once again from Baltune. There's a counter demo, actually multiple counter demos here, but that is a lovely connection here for Kiljardi. Not as good as he hoped for, but now he is so close to taking out that galley. Galley gets away for the time being, but you really sense that things are just piling up against the Baltune over here. His demos getting picked off, at least the first one does. Kiljardi is also harassing that wood line once again. Now he's mixing in spears to deal with the horsemen. The king is back on 2. And apparently this gold mine was vacated for some time because of, I guess, harassment from the king or longbows.
Yeah.
Longbows once again show up, and a lot of those villagers are very heavily damaged. So even just a couple of arrows from those longbows, it could result in multiple villager kills.
Yeah, everything is low life. His economy is not doing well. He's very heavy on wood. Doesn't have any food and any gold. His food economy was having issue on water. His gold economy was having issue on land. So now Kiljardi had enough space to actually go for the +1 attack, the +1 range. And now it's gonna become a misery to fight on water. So it's gonna be a very, very hard fight for Baltune.
Only 2 horsemen out there for Baltune, and I mean, they actually ran into the tower, just being afraid of that one spearman chasing them. Kiljardi, in the meantime, he's got a good fleet. Baltune is back on track with his fleet as well. But Kiljardi is once again replenishing his longbow count, the spearman as well. This one scout, apparently, just lost his tracks.
Oof.
Baltune
That's a
is
lot
up to
of
7
demo.
demos, though.
Yeah, a lot
That
of
could be
demos.
scary.
But Kiljardi has +1 range, so it's gonna be easier to work them around. 2 archer chips, a few demos himself if he wants to actually use them to kill demos. That could be a possibility. And I feel like he's just gonna try to kill dogs 1 by 1 to make it safe. He has +1 range, so he can just make it slowly but steadily. He can just pressure the dogs.
Yeah, he's about to take out the first stock out there, but needs to be cautious. He's facing 12 demos. And we've seen this from especially the Spanish brothers, Vortex and Lucifron. They always do this. They want one big fight with 1 million demos and just want to finish you off. And that's exactly what Baltune is looking for. He's got 13 demos. His gold mine is being pushed in the meantime. You can see bottom left of your screen. But the main things are happening here. Demos coming in from 2 sides. Archer ships doing so good of a job just taking out half of them, but they're still closing in. Nice blitz by Kiljardi. Some of his Hawks do get connections to the demos though, and at the end of the day, that's exactly what Baltune wanted. So many Hawks going down from Kiljardi.
Yeah, the problem with Kiljardi here is that it didn't kite with the archer ship. So you want to stay in range of the demo with your archer ship as long as you can, and if you do it very well, you can pretty much kill almost all of them. So you would get some connections, but not as many if he actually kited with his archer ship while running away with the Hulk. So you can actually macro a bit better, post your Hulk and your archer, and then you have way less demo ship to deal with.
At the same time, Kiljardi is back to 7 Hawks over here. New demos are a little slow to arrive here for Baltune. There's a race between 2 demos. One looking to make a connection. And now there's a demo flank coming in here from Kiljardi. Maybe Baltune overstayed his welcome a little here. Demos repulsing him. Archer ships will take most of these out. But for the time being, it seems like Kiljardi stabilized. Demos looking to trade over here. Galley out there from Kiljardi as well. Some decent connections. Oh, bit of a miss micro potentially by Kiljardi. Loses a couple more Hawks.
Not too bad, but not too good either, and it's still against English +1 range. So it's not like he really killed the army. It's still pretty close and he's still losing on land, so it's not really improving.
Yeah, that's the problem here. Baltune is actually being beaten up by a single spearman on his wood line. Yeah. And you might think it's not a lot of damage, but remember, a lot of those villagers are hurt. Yeah. Eco is being lost here. Another demo push coming in from Baltune this time around. The galleys do a lot better job sniping most of them off before they reach the Hawks. And again, a galley gets sacrificed, but that's a small price to pay, while your opponent is losing every single villager on that wood line. Baltune is so focused on the water that he isn't even noticing this.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
That could be it. That could be it. I mean, that spearman, he's just beating up villagers. Finally, villagers are rallied, but I really wonder how many villagers Baltune lost to this. He's down by 10 eco.
Yeah, he killed 11 villagers, including fishing ship, and he didn't kill many, so... I mean, he's been killing some for the whole game. We have to be careful about that on water, because that's a big army from both sides.
The demos, nice trades here for Kiljardi though. Took out most of the demos with the demo itself, and then once again Baltune just keeps losing these demo ships. And these are expensive, especially for a player losing so many vills.
Yeah. Hopefully he finally killed the spearman, but still, like, 10 less villagers, that's very, very big. You have no fishing ship upgrade, unlike Kiljardi, he made it earlier. So it's just gonna be hard.
Kiljardi needs to be careful not to get trapped in here. Demos are once again pursuing him. That's a lot of demos. Oh, nice little connection there. A second connection is going to be something that Baltune misses out on. And it's actually remarkable how okay Baltune is doing on the water despite losing so many villagers on land.
Yeah, he's not doing too bad. That's why China is good on this map, obviously. Like, it's just the economy with IOs are it's just unparalleled. So you just make so many units, but on the long run, Kiljardi is gonna age up, and the +1 range is obviously gonna be a big deal if he keeps fighting like that, because he can kite and he can get better trade, and eventually it's gonna be a big problem for Baltune.
Arisa, oh, demo getting way too close. One Hawk sinks, but still, most of those demos got sniped out by Kiljardi. He's been doing a really good job sniping out the majority of the demos coming his way. And it looks like Baltune, he's just running out of war junks. He's going full demo ships now, but he's got nothing to protect those demos with.
Yeah, 7 demos, 1 galley, 1 Hawk. Against 3 archer ships, so he should be totally fine. He can push in. We can see the score, it's getting a bit bigger, wider. Like 500 score difference at this point of the game is a lot. And it's for good reasons. Kiljardi have a big land army, Baltune does not. Economy-wise he's ahead, and on water he's kind of winning, so for sure he is ahead pretty much everywhere.
And Kiljardi is getting closer and closer to Castle Age here. Once again, Baltune is looking to make this happen, but even before the demos dive in, he just realizes that it might just be over. Baltune, we're going to have to say goodbye to him. This was his last game in the online stage and in general in Red Bull Wololo Al Reinado. Whereas for Kiljardi, he is delivering one of his best ever tournament performances. He's not done just yet. He was knocked down to the lower bracket, I think at the very beginning, indeed. He basically lost to Louis MT 3-0 in the winner's bracket, round number 1. But so far, he's been going through the winner's bracket, or the loser's bracket like a champ. 3-0ing Lash, 3-2 versus CSO, and now knocking out Baltune as well. He's going to be awaiting his opponent tomorrow, who's going to be either Lucifron or Puppy Paw.
Oof, and what an incredible day of action it's been. Congrats to Kiljardi for keeping those hopes alive. Commiserations as we do say farewell to Baltune. A set that kind of played out with the level of aggression we've come to expect from him, Marine Lord. Looking at that final game in particular, you know, I think for a long time the discussion with English has been around their dominance now on LAN for a few months and how ridiculous the 2TC fast castle builds have been looking. I think this is a reminder that even with the nerfs in mind, England is still, what, I'd say a top 3 pick for water.
I mean, you have Rus, and then you have a lot of different possibilities. HRE, English, Japanese, Sushi, China. So I guess it's like top 1, in my opinion, with Rus. And then everything else is a bit below, but yeah, English is for sure like top 2, top 3.
Do you think maybe the Admiralty tech is a little bit too strong for Feudal? Because I've noticed a few players talking about the idea of maybe having it move to Castle.
I mean, you could do that, but in the end of the day, like, it's broken everywhere for one reason, because of the king. Same for HRE, it's broken because of the chapel being so strong. So you could do that, but in the end, the king remains the king, and it's extremely strong pretty much on any kind of map. So I just feel like you need to nerf the HP regeneration of the king. I feel like maybe he shouldn't heal himself that much, and maybe not that fast, you know, like, he just goes out of the fight, instantly heals up. That's too much pressure, that's too much. He can just do too much of it. That's not balanced, I think.
Yeah, and, you know, I think there's a few other civs in mind that probably are due some nerfs. I mean, looking at the stats for this Political, I think so far this tournament's kind of spoken for itself. Most banned civs, HRE, Rus, English, and Byzantines. I think it's fair to say with how dominant a lot of those civs have been looking in tournament play, we've probably got a big nerf hammer coming in after the qualification phase of El Reinado.
Well, you never know, but you know, every civ that I lose to, it's OP. But I get what you're coming from. Some of these civilizations definitely show a lot of prowess, and I think the thing I want to highlight is that a lot of these civilizations are powerful and often banned because of how versatile they are. Like, I think one of the key things to highlight, like let's say with a civilization like Rus again, or even HRE, you can pick them on a full LAN map. You can play them on a more turtley map. You can even play them to a certain extent on an open map. I mean, you can play them on a hybrid map. So really, there is not much of a domain where some of these civilizations would be quote unquote weak at. And I think that's part of the reason why we see them being banned so frequently in tournaments. It's just like a Swiss Army knife civilization that's good for any maps. And I think if there are nerfs, hopefully they go in this direction. Like, okay, maybe you want to reduce the versatility of some of these civilizations.
Yeah, and you know, another thing to think about is how I'd say the players at the top have changed a little bit, Marine Lord. It feels like the meta has shifted much more into feudal. We've been seeing it for a while now. Feels like a player like Kiljardi has really been milking that at the moment. You know, you did mention earlier, though, the idea that you still feel it's better at the absolute top to be the defending player. Do you think that's maybe something that could hold Kiljardi back from making it all the way in this format?
Yeah, I don't want to be mean, but I think it's gonna be very hard later on against different opponents for Kiljardi that are just either as aggressive as him, but a bit better, or just defensive and can totally stop him, which is the case of a few players in my opinion.
Let's have a look at those players, because we have got the final standings at the end of the day, so we can see where everyone has finished off here. Of course, there are a few things to address when we look at this. First of all, tomorrow we will be seeing Beastie versus Wham and Puppypaw versus Lucifron in that upper bracket in the semi-finals there. The decider, I believe, is going to be reserved for next weekend, but you will at least get to see those two sets. When we look at the lower bracket, we've also got more to come tomorrow there, as it's going to be Vortex versus either Beastie or Wham. And then, as we just saw Kiljardi now with a dub, that means he gets the honor of having to deal with either the nuisance that is Puppypaw or the nuisance that is Lucifron. Lads, like kind of looking at expectations, and actually I should probably address it now. That Dumu set, you are seeing an FF. This was already addressed by Dumu. I'll just do it live on the recording for people now. Dumu, I think he mentioned he wasn't feel well. He didn't want to continue. He didn't realize it was going to be another set. So he decided to forfeit it, which means Vortex goes through. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. It's not EGC's rulebook. There's no override. And honestly, if there was, handbooks are written for a reason. So these things are clearly laid out. Just unfortunate we did not get to see Dumu versus Vortex. And I'm sure that would have been an absolutely insane set, especially with the way that Dumu's been playing, Marine Lord.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's part of the job, right? That's the problem with Dumu's life. He has a normal life, he has a kid, he has a wife, he has normal life, man. We don't have normal life. Only games.
Yeah,
That's
don't get
not
laid,
normal.
live in a basement, play games for 10 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
And then take a 2-hour nap. Then
Yeah.
it's a siesta and you play for another 6 hours, right?
Yeah, that's what we do. He has to do the same as us, man.
God, this is why we love Marine Lord. Looking at who's remaining, though, is there a favorite that's starting to come out in your minds here, Lidicor? You know, we've seen displays out of each of the players now. I think at least once they've kind of all featured at some point on the broadcast. Has there been anyone since the opening of this bracket that you've looked at and gone, I think they've got something bright shining there. I think they've got what it takes to go all the way.
It's an interesting question that you're throwing at me right now because, you know, I was about to say, like, hey, Louis MT and CSO had such a great start. Like, okay, let's go. Guess what? They both got eliminated today. And they both have been eliminated such that they started the day on the winner's bracket. Yeah. They just went 0-2 today, and they're all out. Now, I think one of the things to highlight here, indeed, is that Kiljardi is already having a pretty deep run. We had touched on this a little with Marine Lord. At this point, he can basically approach this saying, listen, I've already gotten potentially further than I expected. There is no stress. Let's just go, see where it takes us. Elsewhere, I think we are so far seeing fairly, I'm going to say predictable, but the players that we're seeing getting to where they are right now, those are names that we're all familiar with. There is nothing unexpected in having a Beastie versus Wham or Puppypaw versus Lucifron setup out there. I think it's going to get a lot dicier tomorrow, because tomorrow is when you are really going to start knocking out some of these bigger names, and this conversation is going to be a lot more intriguing at the end of tomorrow's broadcast.
Yes, it's kind of intriguing just how quickly we're going to have to narrow this down to one person to go on a date with Marine Lord in Spain. Anyone who's cutest to you, Marine Lord? Anyone who you really want to match up against? Go on a...
No, I don't really care. I feel like if we do BC, it's gonna be a good final for the viewership. But I feel like honestly, anyone from the upper bracket is gonna be a potential good opponent. I mean, even Vortex, right? So Kiljardi, I don't think so, but maybe. Who knows? Like, if he plays very well, he plays very well, and then he qualifies, right? So I don't really have any preference. Maybe that's what we all said before the tournament. Having a Spanish in a Spanish castle would be great. So Lucifer or Vortex will be nice, maybe. It will be maybe at least, from what I know, it's maybe their last tournament. So before switching to Stormgate, so that will be lovely to have them in the final. Even Canadians, right? Having them in the final. People only had one final in his life, and Wham didn't have any. So having them in the first final for Wham in the castle would be nice. And people having them maybe like the rematch from the first tournament of the year. He played very well in the grand final against me. So maybe he could do it, you know.
I think it's nice that I feel like we've got a really good balance coming into this final 6 situation, right? Like, you know, you've got Beastie, Lucifron, Vortex always there from the very early days. Wham and Puppy Paw have really seen their rise to power in the last year and a half, right? They've done well before that, but, you know, I think at the start of the year, we started talking about them as potential grand finalists, right, Lytical? And then the interesting one is Kiljardi, right? Like, I think there was a slot that you kind of had for players like Kiljardi and Anatan where you're like, these guys could turn up and they could upset. They've got some crafty strategies. We've been looking at them for a while. I think it's kind of cool that we've somehow come to this really cool balance of the old guard and the new gen here in AoE4.
That's a great point that you're bringing up here, because for a long time it felt like there was just no newcomers to AoE4 in a way. Like you had a very well-defined top 8 or top 10 or top 12 or so, and then it wasn't like, okay, hey, there is one new player that shows up and it's suddenly doing well. But now, suddenly, we have not just one of these players, but like 4 or 5 that have been challenging these big names. And they have found at least partial success against some of them. Just talk about Louis MT. He narrowly lost to Vortex 3-2. CSO taking out Vortex, for instance, in the previous round. That's just a handful of the things that we've seen recently. I could also mention Anatan making a super tight set against Demu and Lucifron. I think one of the key things to look at here is that these guys are not just, around and maybe they take one game away from these big names, or the old guard, so to say. We're really looking at these players as actual challengers to some of these more established players.
Yeah, and I think most importantly, they kind of fit Marine Lord's quota of living in a basement and not having much spare time, right? You got Beastie, who streams like, 7 or 8 hours a day, usually. You got Wham and Puppy Paw, who have about 5 different Smurfs, so collectively they're probably doing 10 hours a day. You've got Lucifron and Vortex, who I'd say play less, but they play more games, so I guess we give them a pass there, right, M-Lord? And then Kiljardi's on your D-Gen schedule, right? So
I have no idea about Kiljardi, but maybe.
Maybe. I think he actually he rises earlier, but you know, it's a bit weird for us D-Gen late night gamers to say, but I think he does on average do 8 hours a day. Absolute wild grinders. But boys.